You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear podcast. No longer delayed because Nate's jiggled his power cords. We're recording a week late. It's all Nate's fault. I could have done a show on my own, but we both know nobody wants that. I'm your host, as always, author, podcaster, gamer, Tim, K.A. Trotter. Joining me, as always, is the one, the only, the Nate whose hair matches the color on his shirt, jersey. What are you wearing?
Oh, it's my Guardians gamer jersey that they gave us all.
Oh, I was going to say, it vaguely looks like a Star Trek uniform. You've got the little badge, you've got the cuffs and the different colors. Looks like the thing. There you go.
Gamer tag and the number 19 because I joined them in 2019.
Okay. Fair enough.
So I didn't want to do the 69.
Fair enough.
And I don't have any like lucky numbers or anything like that. So said 19 because I've been here since then.
Fair enough. Well, without further ado, because we have a ton to get through today, we're going to spin the ring because many of our segments are just meaty as fuck. And we have landed on video games.
Oh,
actually.
Good. That's the meat.
Right off the rip. Fantastic.
Bring the meat.
I want to start, because I feel like we do this always backwards. I want to start with what we've been playing in the 3 weeks we haven't done a show.
Yes.
What have you been able to snag time for?
Coffee golf.
Dear Nate.
I've been
Besides
kicking
coffee
everyone's ass in coffee golf.
I'm like a fucking month behind. So here's my funny story on that. That's not so funny at all because it occurred yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to boot up coffee golf and just like fucking just go to town in retroactive coffee golfing. And then I saw this app next to it that I don't remember how the fuck it got on my phone. And it said Exominer. It had a cute little sci-fi looking logo. And I was like, what are you? And so I clicked that instead.
And down the rabbit hole you went?
Yes. Exominer is a lovely free to play, but you can pay money to take care of the ads. It's just basically an idle sci-fi mining expansion game.
Okay.
And it scratches. It's got cute little visuals. It's got cute little boops and beeps when you touch stuff. It's got cute little art. Got cute little faux sci-fi sounds when you have the sound on, and it's kind of like vaguely astroneer-ish in the visuals,
Hmm.
which,
Okay.
as we all know of, I'm a huge fan of that particular style. And so it's like, oh, okay, it's a little astronaut. Oh yeah, I want to refine some cobalt. Yeah, I want to upgrade my mining laser so that it has 5x output. Yeah, I want to assign scientists to a thing so that they can get more materials, and then I can build the next thing in the in the skill tree thing. Yeah, I like that when I turn the game off, it's still going, and then it tracks the time and then says, "Hey, you've been away for 8 hours. Your miners have done this in the meantime." You know,
Is that
and I'm
Exo
like, you know
Miner
what?
from Exocorp?
Let me pull
Exo
up the
Miner,
name.
Idle Miner Universe.
So, Miner by yes, sir, Exocorp.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, go for it. It's cute. Absolutely. Whatever you want to put into it or not.
Cool.
I
And you've got a head start on me, so it'll be a while before I can go. Haha.
yeah. I have a I have a I have a 36-hour head start, and I did pay. I thought it was a little much, but I was like, I like the art, everything about it. Like nothing is pissing me off about this thing. So I paid for the 14.99 no ads thing.
That's not horrible.
No, it's
But yeah, it is a little
steeper
steeper. Yeah.
than the next game. Um, and I almost bought it right away, but then I looked. I was like, wait, how long has this developer been around? How many updates is this thing? Is this like a new thing? And this is like a waste of money because I've been doing that lately.
Hmm.
Because the other thing, and I don't think I talked about it previous show, was, and I've played it since the beginning, which is Marvel's uh, Future Revolution, which is a MMORPG on Unreal Engine 4 on the phones,
Okay.
which I think is fantastic. Except 2 weeks ago, when I went to log in and it was like server error. And I went, oh, that's weird. And then I tried again the next day and it said server error. And I went, oh, that's weird. And so then I Googled. He was like, okay, well, how long are the servers going to be down this time? And then they're like, oh,
Permanently.
the game is delisted and is no longer functioning and it is done. And I'm like, what the actual fuck, guys? Not even a message in game when you log in. Hey,
Right.
we done. Which is
Yeah.
sad
Yeah.
because that was
I
like,
forget what other game I had. I had a game that I was playing on regular that kind of did that, where they were like, just it when it shut down, the app just stopped working. Like you open it up and it just
mm,
said internal server error closed,
mm-hmm.
and it was like, oh, did that finally happen? And it was a game that was scheduled to be shut down, and it just was like I stopped paying attention. I was expecting when I opened the app, it's like, thank you, but no, thank you. They just said,
I,
nope, we're done.
I mean, the thingy that's funny about Marvel's Future Revolution, aside from it being a very polished MMORPG, is it had a shorter shelf life than the big budget Avengers game that is being delisted actually this month. The co-op one, 4-player kind of Destiny-ish, really good story,
Hmm.
very well made because Crystal Dynamics doesn't make bad games, but died a slow, painful, horrible death. Because like the Future Revolution was only out for 2 years, and I was like, what? Like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? And it was mobile, like it was, it's free to pay and all that sort of shit.
free to pay. Yeah.
But yeah, free to pay. Um, I said it correctly. Okay, Nate, don't snicker. But yeah, no, I was shocked. I was like, I didn't even really hear anything about it doing bad. Um, I figured it would do well since there's like 30 games that have like the Marvel title in them
Sure.
on phones and whatnot. and I've
And Marvel
played them
IP tends
all.
to, yeah, like it tends to be pretty evergreen as long as you keep it updated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Like, we'll see how long, the hot one, Marvel Snap, that came out last year, that I still play from time to time. Um, like, we'll
Hey,
see, I guess. But
that's one
I'm
like I
I'm
hear
just
nothing but good things about. I'm just not into like the card type games.
and I think I've said
So,
before, if you were,
hmm
that's like the one that is like really built
hmm
around, if you have 3 minutes, because
right.
that's how long a match is going to take,
Yep.
or 3 to 5 minutes maximum. Like, never going to go longer than that. Like it's really, really respectful of the time, and the game is
Your legs are
entirely
not going to
designed
fall
around
asleep
that.
on the toilet, is what you're saying.
Well,
Not from one match.
yeah. Yeah, like you know, I still play that one from time to time. I don't play it as religiously as I did when it first came out.
hmm
Um, but if I'm in the hankering for a card thing, I reach for that over Hearthstone, you
Sure.
know, ironically made by at least some of the team who made Hearthstone. So, same vibe. Different
They know
time
how to get their
commitment though.
hooks. Yeah.
Different time commitment. Yeah, so I'm a little butthurt about that because I had spent probably too much money on that particular MMORPG, thinking to myself, well, it seems popular, and like the Reddit and the Discord are all jiving. And for that matter, I didn't even fucking hear about it in the fucking Discord I was in for it. So it's just like, did it just was it just one day,
Like
Disney
a
via Marvel
built-in
Games was
do.
just
Yeah.
like, yeah, this isn't hitting the money threshold. You got 3 months turnaround. Didn't turn around. All right, bye.
Yeah.
I don't know. No
Bummer.
idea. Indeed. I've also, at least in the mobile front, I have been playing copious amounts of Honkai Star Rail. It is still fantastic. I will say though, and I meant to say this several podcasts ago. Um, I think I said like the first world and the whole storyline and everything there is like full ass triple A
hmm
tier JRPG goodness. And it's just a fantastically designed game from top to bottom. Second world, gotta say the story did not grab me, and I found myself just skipping dialogue left and right. And it's like, okay, this person's betraying this person, and this is a thing, and okay, there's like a tree god, and all right, there's a fucking mystical cat and a cloud city. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Let me just go to the next battle. So I'm not sure whether it's just, you know, because like the conceit of the game is that it's I've said before it does kind of have like a Stargate like premise in that it's like each world is like its own 30 plus hour JRPG
hmm
with story and whatnot, which is cool. Like that's awesome. And considering like one of the things that I love in games and sci-fi and fantasy is like floating cities and sky shit. And then the second world is all about a sky city thing. And I was just not engaged with that
Just
world. I think I'm at the final boss of that particular world.
yeah, it just didn't
So
get
I'm
its hooks
excited.
into you, or didn't keep its hooks in you.
Yeah, like I still love the game, like, but just the plot that was delivered.
hmm
And part of me thought, um, at some point through the second planet, I was like, I almost wonder if this one was developed first because the like in like the development cycle of this, because obviously it's a live game, so they have to have content and they're like
hmm
doling out these planets. My understanding is they're trying to do a planet every 6 months, and so you'll get half of the story every 3 months, and then you'll get the second half of it after that, and then they move on to the next.
Mhm.
Is what I'm understanding the kind of cycle to be. And so, what I'm kind of thinking with this second planet is that maybe it was developed first, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty good, but I don't know if it's good enough to like hook people. Maybe we shuffle that to the second planet, and then the first planet that you do play is the one that became the first one because it's just so much better
Right.
than this one. So I almost wonder if that it got shuffled around in the development cycle purely from a, you know, let's give them the really good one first, then we'll backpedal to the one that's already built while we work on other stuff.
Sure.
I almost wonder if it was that kind of
Yeah,
thought
it makes
process.
sense.
And
Again,
it could be.
if they want to keep you, they got to grab you. And then
Sure.
once you're already in, even if it does slow down, you can be like, well, I mean, I got good play out of that first world, so I'll stick
Hmm.
around.
Yeah. Because I am definitely sticking around.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So as far as mobile stuff, that's primarily what I've been up to.
Yeah, I've just been doing
Um,
my daily puzzles and stuff like that.
okay.
Like that's really all I have time for on mobile lately.
Okay.
So again, that could change in the next few weeks when I have a lot of idle time at work. So
Mm, mm.
I'll be bringing a charger with me.
Now, are you saying that just because of how much you'll be on your phone dinking around, or are you saying that because of how much a fucking battery hog
Yes.
got stored?
Yes.
Actually, have you played it since you got the new phone?
No, I did not.
I wonder if it's any better on your poor
I'm
battery
I'm
life.
gonna say it probably isn't.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah,
Okay.
on the PC front,
Yeah. What about big games?
I did get in and play me some more Starfield.
Okay. So you've been
Um,
playing Starfield,
yeah,
and
once I got I, it's 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 a Bethesda game.
that it is.
I've gotten to the point where they're just like, okay, we're going to take a break from telling you a story and let you go explore the city. And I'm like, okay, I
Mm,
just want to get back to the story now.
mm,
And they're like, no, but you need to go see all the vendors. And I'm like, but I don't want to.
mm,
I just want to get back to the story. And they're like, no, 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 the vendors. We're going to
yeah.
show you how all of this works and upgrade skill trees. And I'm just like, okay, can we be
So
done with that?
now you say you've been playing more Starfield,
Hmm.
but that's not entirely what our audience would be expecting because we have been delayed.
Hmm.
And so while you and I have talked about Starfield, it was not on a cast.
Right.
So for the listeners at home, I'll just quickly state I don't have much to say about Starfield. I have played 2 hours of Starfield, and
Hmm.
that is it. So I don't have enough to form an opinion on good or bad. All I can
I,
say is the music sounded good,
yes, it
and the
does.
graphics were not from like a oh the graphics are good, but the art design is nice.
Yes.
At least to me, who's a sci-fi guy. So I'm not going to really say too much one way or the other on Starfield,
Yeah.
other
I have a
than
bed to lay
it.
in now. Apparently that's a thing.
Fair enough. So I guess I was really prodding for more of like, so what's your okay? Fine, it's a Bethesda game. Is it a good one though?
I don't know because again, I'd like to actually play the game more and not do Skyrim stuff.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the consensus from pretty much every fucking critic and
Hmm.
podcast thing I've heard on the planet, which everybody's talking about Starfield right now.
Yeah,
Um,
and again,
which is
I've been
almost
hearing the reviews on it, and it's just like I'm going, well, okay, because these again people kind of they have their preconceived notions, and again they go, well,
sure.
it's a Bethesda ass game, and I'm like, okay. And I started playing it, and it was like, what do they mean by this? And now I know.
Mm,
It's like, okay, yeah, no, I get where it just kind of, you get driven down a plot line that one doesn't make a whole lot of sense from the get go,
mm,
and you think that you're gonna keep playing the game somewhere along that storyline, and they're just like, nope. Now you're free to do whatever you want, even though it it almost reminds me of the Halo TV show. It's like you're a Spartan
yeah.
ass Spartan. You went and touched the thing. You saw the visions, and now go ahead and be a merchant if you want, or hey, set up a trading post somewhere, or go fight pirates, or just do whatever. And I'm like, what about the thing that I touched?
Mm. See, that's interesting because, like I was saying, everybody else and their mother has been saying the first 6 hours are boring as fuck. And if you really want to experience the game, it has the best Bethesda's main story
Hmm.
that has ever been delivered.
Sure.
So,
And I guess as much as this is a complaint, I would like my Bethesda game to be a little more on rails,
hmm,
right?
okay.
You know, again, the game was kind of marketed as a a better version of No Man's Sky, and it's not that at all.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've played 2 hours. In that 2 hours, I did the intro. I touched the thingy, which is not a spoiler because you touched the thing. Everybody's going to touch the thingy
Right.
within the first hour.
It's on rails at that point.
And I landed on the planet and I fought the pirates. I flew into space and then I fought some more pirates. And then they told me to go someplace and I didn't go someplace. And then I landed somewhere else and walked around for a bit. And that was it.
Hmm.
That's all I did.
Yeah. I'm a little
Um,
bit further than that. Like after you walk around for a bit, talk to a couple of people, then you take off and you go somewhere else. And I'm in that somewhere else. Basically, you I'm in the main, I guess, main hub where you're
yeah,
supposed
New
to.
Atlantis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm aware that that's where I'm probably going next.
Yeah. Because again,
So,
you're on rails at that point, and I'm at the point
mhm.
where the train just fell off the rails.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, guess
it's okay. Yeah,
we'll have more Starfield discussion in the future.
maybe.
What I
I think
will
I'm gonna
say
have to
though,
do some of the mods, the performance mods on it, because that game
mm,
is just nasty to my hardware.
well, you have a NVIDIA GPU, right?
Yes, and that you would discuss that with me that
Yeah, and
there
and
had
the
been issues.
DLSS isn't there, but will be there
Yeah,
apparently because they had a pretty good. The neighbor's dogs are just. I don't know if that's coming through in the mic right now,
not as bad as it
but
usually does.
it is like extra tonight. Like it sounds like they're fighting another dog right now.
Mm. Yeah, it's not
Licking.
actually coming through.
Good, good,
Maybe it's
because it
well,
is.
this might be the first cast where we've had the dogs and this mic, so that might be the difference.
That's true. The new mic.
Yeah.
That's true because the dogs have been kind of behaved the last couple of casts.
Hmm.
That's true. Um, what was I gonna say? I've forgotten what I had to
Starfield.
say.
Bethesda asked Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
Wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see. I was gonna say the only other thing I did with Starfield was I was trying to diagnose
Oh yeah, we were
an
talking about hardware. Yeah, my
yeah,
performance
yeah,
issues.
yeah.
Yes, cast. I have performance issues.
I'm gonna have to take a bio break. Bio break is emerging, in which I am going to need to go handle.
Okay.
So I think let's just do. We're early enough. Let's just do a hard. Or no, is it going back in? Nope. No, I am not. Okay,
Okay.
we're good. So
We get 3 more weeks of winter?
uh
Puxatawny
that's a good reference.
Puxatawny went back into his hole, huh?
If we're calling my Dookie Punxsutawney, sure.
Yes.
Um I was gonna say, yeah, no, Bethesda seems to have been all over addressing what the roadmap is in terms of updates and stuff. They very clearly stated that uh, PC mods are great. Full mod support for PC through the creation engine stuff, like they've done in Skyrim and Fallout, is coming beginning of the year, and it will be available on Xbox, which is great.
Right.
Um, DLSS is coming. XS is not coming. That's Intel Arc's
Mhm.
version of
Poor
upscaling.
poor Intel.
Yeah.
They could have the best product in the world, and everyone is just be like, "Nope, we're not spending development hours on this."
Well, A, they're super late to the game.
Mhm.
B, per Digital Foundry and some tech tubers, um, they have a pretty damn good GPU.
Mhm.
Um, but they're late to the game,
Mhm.
and everybody in the PC world wants an AMD or an NVIDIA, and not an Intel.
Right.
And meanwhile, exciting things are happening in the Apple world of GPUs, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, you know what? I might as well just comment on specifically the gaming stuff from the Apple event. We'll just carve it out right here in the gaming portion.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, but basically, in Apple had an event earlier this week to announce all their new iPhone shit, and the iPhone 15 Pro is getting their first 3 nanometer processor with their quote unquote first top to bottom redesigned GPU.
Hmm.
That also includes a new cluster specifically in the machine learning side of the chip for the GPU for the next version of their, I forget, Apple has a name for it, their version of AI upscaling, which was introduced last year, which Digital Foundry put as above anything that AMD was offering
Mhm.
and way closer to NVIDIA's than anybody would have thought. Even though just last week, AMD announced their AMD uh, FX Super Revolution 3.0, as well as liquid motion frames. And I think we maybe did talk about that. Maybe that was something we
Yes.
talked about in a podcast. Well, anyway, the tout from Apple is that the iPhone 15 Pro and its chip in it, which I'm actually going to click on a link so I don't say the wrong chip because there are so many chips.
The A17.
Yeah, A17 Pro,
Mhm.
which is funny because they have so far not put any extra titles on their chips. Um, but what I mean by that, at least for gaming, is they showed off running on iPhone 15 Pro, both standard size and the maximum size. Fucking Resident Evil 8 Village, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and apparently the next month's Assassin's Creed game that's coming to consoles is also coming to the iPhone.
Right.
Like the whole ass game, not a mobile version. And Apple made an emphasis to state that this is console quality gaming in your pocket, and they are not mobile versions.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Basically,
I mean,
they're at this point with a backbone. They're competing with Switch at this, or even
no, because those games are all next gen games that
right.
aren't on
I
the
was gonna. What
Switch.
was the Steam Deck? Thank you. That's what I'm.
Sure, I would probably guess that that is probably more their target, and certainly more within their realm to smoke
Right.
than the consoles for sure. But what was interesting about that is even though they announced this and they showed that the fucking chip is gonna it has ray traced acceleration hardware, ray traced acceleration in it, which is just that's bonkers for a cell phone. Um, Something that wasn't shown in the press conference, but I saw because of the way that I watched the event. Um, on their YouTube channel, they had like a little sizzle reel
Mm-hmm.
for gaming, and they showed some more fucking games that haven't fucking been announced for the phone. They showed fucking uh Sony and Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, which was already previously announced earlier this year, is coming to the Mac. Run it on the iPhone, which I've said before is a big deal because that's Sony's proprietary super AAA engine
Mm-hmm.
that powers the Horizon franchise. And then not terribly surprising because they already have a Mac version of it. So it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Is obviously a phone version of No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's just like, hmm, interesting that those are in a little 3 minute sizzle reel on a YouTube and weren't in the event, so to speak.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that's definitely it's definitely interesting for the iPhone mobile gaming people. And in the back of my head, I was like, hmm, can we can we issue a revision to the Apple TV and slap that fucking chip in the Apple TV? Because gaming's been pretty
Wait,
fucking shitty
wait. You mean turn the Apple
there.
TV into a legit console? That would be. I think I want to
Yeah.
say I said something like this about a year or so ago
Mm-hmm.
during the console wars. I'm like, why, why hasn't Apple done this? Because Apple, when I always pick on you for Apple not being a gaming platform, and boy, have they've been going out of their way to prove me wrong.
And obviously, I mean, I've said it for years. Obviously, a huge portion of their income is now the developers
Hmm.
and then the players who want the games on these
Sure.
platforms. Um, and it always boggled my mind that every fucking time they issued an exciting update to the Apple TV 4K, it was always like fucking a 4-year-old chip
Right.
in it. And I'm just like,
Well, and again, to their credit for what they're doing with the Apple TV, they don't need the latest and greatest to do it. They're just basically giving you apps.
I mean, here's my catch 22 on that.
Hmm.
As someone who has owned 4 or 5 versions of the Apple TV, um,
Which at best have
I
been iterative updates to each other.
yes and no. I mean, I would say the Apple TV to the TV 4K was a pretty fucking huge jump.
In what
Um,
way?
in that it actually got like an operating system and not just like a fucking
Oh, not just a web page to
front
the Apple Store.
facing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I mean, from my perspective, and I will continue saying this so long as it is true, from my perspective, with the capability of owning all the consoles and having a smart TV, my Apple TV is where I watch all my streaming stuff
Sure.
because it delivers the best experience, bar none.
Hmm.
It's faster, delivers better quality on streaming, has much better color,
I can agree
all
with
that
that as
stuff.
someone that has Roku'd and Chromecasted.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Amazon Fire was
Hmm.
subpar.
And then where I take curmudgeony umbrage is on the fact that I do play some rather big boy games on Apple stuff, either because I want to or because I have it through Apple Arcade.
Mhm.
And Apple Arcade is obviously supported as well as any app really that's built for the Apple TV through the store. But I think of things like the fact that Apple Arcade launched, and I've said this many times, and I hate that I'm a broken record about this, but I think of the Pathless, which was a PS5 launch title, which also launched fucking a week earlier on Apple Arcade.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, I don't have a PS5 because I chose to get a Series X that year. I fucking want to play the Pathless. I'm gonna play the Pathless. And I loaded it up on my Apple TV, and it was
Poopy?
it it wasn't poopy at first, but it's the only time I've ever heard the fan really kick on the Apple TV. And then the frame rates tanked. And I'm like, I see. And so then I played the remainder of that game on my phone and iPad, which had a superior chip in it.
Mhm.
And of course, it was reasonably flawless. And then 2 years later, that Apple TV got the chip from the iPhone and iPad that I'd played that game on. And I was like, oh, cool.
Now
Like,
I can play
let me,
Pathless on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, like I can totally understand the logistical business reasons for like, yeah, it's probably a decent bit of work to like refab the board for whatever new
Oh,
Apple sock.
you know what?
There's at least
I
some
I'd
effort
I'd buy
involved.
that if you didn't have the Apple iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Pro, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the iPhone 15 Pro Max
But
Ultra,
but
right? But
here's
you know what I'm
here's the
saying?
here's the difference from a business side, right? Those products account for what? 60-70% of Apple's
Mhm.
business right now, you know?
But, but
Because
just put another SKU out there. Have the Apple TV Pro,
I
right?
and I agree, and I would be there
So,
for that product.
and again, I think it's one of those things that if Apple would just shouldn't get should or get off the pot and say here's the Apple TV Pro, or here's at least an Apple TV that's on par,
Mhm.
with an iPhone 14 or an iPhone 15, not even necessarily the Pro or the Pro Max. Let's just we have the chips,
Sure,
you know.
sure,
They might actually have an opportunity to take over a segment that
sure,
they're falling behind in to some players that have some crap hardware.
sure. And there's no reason for them, I mean, other than financial, not to. That's the only reason
Sure.
that I could think of because it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure they have all the numbers to back up why they haven't done that yet. Sure.
Mhm.
But anyway, so there was that gaming bit of news. Um and then we had a Nintendo Direct and a Sony State of Play hilariously on the same fucking day again because it can just never
So,
it can never be separate.
Nintendo likes to, what would you say, steep
Steep.
PlayStation, dip the tea bag in there a little bit.
Hmm. Sure, I
So,
guess. But before we get into that, I wanted to return to the only main console game that I've been playing, which is Pikmin 4. I didn't really get a chance. I think I shit on it pretty hard last podcast. And having rolled credits and am now in the post game content, I have changed my tune considerably.
okay.
So here's what still sucks as a Pikmin player about it. It's annoying as fuck. You can still only have 3 Pikmin types with you when there's like 9.
Mm.
Um, the previous thing that I complained about going into caves and not knowing which Pikmin I needed to take with me, that disappeared pretty quickly because you get an upgrade pretty much right after I bitched about that then solves that. And then I started to understand that most of my gripes about the game were because, unlike the other previous three Pikmins, is that there's a shit ton of quality of life upgrades throughout the game. I think I said before, it's the fastest playing, like just movement speed, everything of all the Pikmins. And there's some motherfucking speed boots, about 10 hours in, that's like, oh yeah? Well, we're going to go twice as fast now. And I'm like, you know what? I'm fucking here for it. Let's fucking do it. Complaints that I had about not being able to point an area on the map and command my dude to go there or take control of another party member
Mhm.
and have them do something. All of those got resolved in time with upgrades. And so it's a very spoon fed slash slow power creep to the top, which is very different than the previous entries, where 1 and 2 maybe had like a couple of upgrades that just happened in the game, and then 3 had a handful of upgrades, and then this is more of, we have a currency, find the currency in the map, and then you can buy whichever fucking upgrade you want for things.
Okay.
Which I honestly kind of prefer, because then it's like, okay, well, if speed's not important to you, you choose, yeah, I want to have my damage reduction reduced by 50%. That'd be great. Yeah, I want to have a poison filter on my dude's helmet so fucking poison doesn't damage me while I'm trying to command things, you know? Um, so yeah, all really, really good stuff. Um, most of the things I bitched about pretty much resolved the further I played.
Right. Other than the
Annoying.
biggest one being you can only carry 3
Yeah,
types.
no, that one is just the game.
Yeah.
That's just how they built the game. I get it. It's still annoying. It is still annoying because I find myself like being like really min max here, especially right before I rolled credits. Um, like I was like really min max. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna throw these people over here. They're gonna work on that thing till that thing's done. It's gonna bring it back to base. Okay, I'm gonna command this thing to go over there. I'm gonna do over there, and then I'll hit a thing. I'll be like, oh fuck, I don't have any ice Pikmin with me. Okay, well I gotta command my guy to go back to the base, swap out one of the fucking colors because I need ice Pikmin, and then I go do the ice Pikmin thing, and then I'm still doing stuff, and then like I'll come across the thing and I'll be like, oh fuck, I don't have any red Pikmin with me, which are fire resistant. I need fucking fire Pikmin for this fucking fire thing. Shit. Then I gotta run all the way back to the base and fucking
Right. At least
switch out the
can
thing.
I put like a camp or something?
So it does have, compared to the other games, which had like one central point where your sort of camp was on the
Mhm.
map. They have like 1 or 2 spawns depending on the map size. So you can like go out into the map and then like, okay, there's a spawn over here, and you hit a button and then suddenly that's where your spawn is. Um so that's good. Um yeah. And I had heard from pretty much all the reviewers that most everyone really, really, really dug the post game content. So like I said, I rolled credits Wednesday, and I actually was gonna stream a little bit of it last night, but my fucking couldn't get the audio to come out to my headset through OBS for some reason.
Okay.
And I know that's happened a couple times before, and I know I fixed it before, and I fucked around with it, and I couldn't fucking figure out how to do it, so I just gave up on streaming and just ended up playing the other night. And what I've noticed about the post game, like I did. So here's what I know about the post game. I know there's 2 extra maps, and then like a side story thing of which I don't know what it is exactly because I haven't hit yes, I want to do this extra thing. Um, so we'll see. And I was finding myself moving through the main campaign of Pikmin 4 at a pretty good pace after a little bit. And I was finding that I would like take out like 20 like the maps are done in percentages of like what you've accomplished in them. And I would find like I would like knock out 25% of a new map when I got to it in about a half hour, and then in about 2.5 hours I would have conquered everything there is to conquer in that map.
Okay.
And I finally got into the post game, the first map, and I got into that. I was like, okay, I see what's going on with this map. This doesn't seem too crazy. And I spent a couple of hours and I did everything that I could possibly see on like my radar, and I got all the things and did all the things. And then I'm looking at the percentage on the map and it says 2%. And I'm like, what? What secrets are you hiding from me?
All of them,
And
apparently.
where are they?
Right.
Because the game has not prepared me for wherever the fuck these secrets are. And I'm like, go on. So, yeah, post game definitely so far percentage wise meatier than the main game. Who knew? So that's a little bit exciting because at this point I have like 95% of all the upgrades, and I'm just like, so I'm just able to like really play, which is kind of the way I wanted to fucking play the game anyway. And now I apparently have a bunch of meaty stuff to do, so I'm like, okay, well played, Nintendo. And so what I would say, to prior Angry Tim about the game from a couple podcasts ago is stick with it. A couple of things do not get better because that's not how they built the game. For example, everybody and their fucking mother talks way too fucking much in this game. And I literally stopped caring. I hit the Nintendo Plus / start button like 6 times every time in dialogue because I just don't care what they have to say at all. Give me the next mission and thing to do, please. And so I find I spend at least a couple of minutes doing that after every fucking mission and goddamn fucking thing to do the next thing. And that is certainly annoying. Um, yeah. Um, Loading, um, pretty much is the same where it has some chunky loading, which is unfortunately to be expected given that it's Switch hardware, it's Unreal Engine 4, and the game does look really good. It is a good looking Switch Unreal Engine 4 game. That is for sure.
Okay.
But otherwise, like I've turned around like pretty much completely on Pikmin 4. I haven't, I've rolled credits, but that's not really the end of the game. So it's a little too early to tell if it's my favorite Pikmin. But there are certainly things in this one that are better than its predecessors. And that's saying a lot considering they threw their old engine out that they'd been using, for 3 Pikmins. And they had to start from scratch, and that it still feels like a Pikmin game. Like it didn't lose its soul, so to speak. Like it doesn't feel like not a Pikmin game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, and that's really cool. So yeah, Pikmin 4. It's great. Stick with it.
Pikmin.
Which I guess ironically mirrors the Starfield sentiment for
Right.
most people.
Right.
It's great. Stick with it. Oh. All right. Let's get into some video game news and then try to get out of here on other topics. Let's do fucking Sony's bonker ass fucking thing. So Sony had a state of play,
And
And why did my link not take me? Fuck. I just posted this link to you. It just took me to the fucking Sony homepage.
oh,
That's
I
weird.
heard you
Okay,
talking
never mind.
shit.
I have it now. I have it now.
Okay.
So Sony. So first of all, Sony went later in the day than Nintendo. Nintendo went in the morning. Nintendo had theirs. I thought it was good to mid, and PlayStation had theirs, and it was like, it's kind of mid to good. Though I will note that Sony started off fucking state of play with the weirdest ass fucking video game you've ever fucking seen called Baby Steps. I don't understand how or why this is in a Sony marketed state of play. It's this weird ass indie game made by Australians or New Zealanders or something about like a not in shape dude walking through mountains, and he's like walking like a fucking like toy figure, and then stumbling with ragdoll physics if you like step wrong.
Right.
And there's no explanation for the gameplay at all. They're just showing you a weird thing. And then there's like two dudes and they're like, hey, are you all right? Yeah, I'm kind of fucking okay. Yeah, sure. And it's like, what what is this? who just hijacked the stream for Sony here to promote their game? Because I have no fucking idea what this is. The only thing I could claim being a semi-intelligent gamer is that, because some of it did look like gameplay, although without a HUD, is that maybe you're using the pressure sensitive triggers to control the left and right legs to move
Yeah.
forward
I'm
in like
watching.
some kind
I'm
of
watching this, and it
fucking
reminds me of the
some kind of
opening scene of what Men in Black, where the alien takes over.
oh dude,
Right.
no, you're right. Yeah, Edgar like "Arr, arr, I'm fine, Edgar,
Exactly this.
Edgar, your skin's hanging off your bone there. You do what I tell you. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah, that's
no,
what this
I
trailer was
know
reminding me.
exactly what you're fucking talking about. That's
Uh-huh.
a good one. Jesus fucking
I'm
Christ.
just watching old Tubby here just not be able to walk up rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they opened with, huh?
Yeah, that's what they fucking open with. Like the fucking either insanity or balls. I couldn't tell you which.
Yep. And yay.
Fucking bonkers.
Not actual gameplay. It says at the bottom.
Okay, then what are you showing me? Fucking bizarre. Then they showed off Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord, a PSVR 2 title exclusive, which is not surprising at all considering Sony owns Ghostbusters.
Right.
It looked all right,
Did
I
it look
guess.
did it look like that the Ghostbusters trailer that we saw built in Unreal?
I
Yeah.
mean, it didn't look that good.
Oh, it didn't even look that good? Which I
No,
thought that looked bad.
no, it didn't look
Okay.
that good. Then they showed off Resident Evil 4 VR mode for PSVR 2, which we all knew was coming. And that one looks pretty fucking dope, not gonna lie. They showed off DLC coming to Resident Evil 4 called Separate Ways, which actually mirrors you play as Ada Wong, who's like this ninja femme fatale character. Which you actually they had like a extra mission at some point you could unlock either in a director's cut, because there wasn't DLC back on the GameCube back in the day, but there's like one of the different versions of Resident Evil 4 had this as like an extra like 3.5 hour mission thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really cool. And this looks way more expansive than that. It almost looks like you're replaying Resident Evil 4 from like a different perspective or timeline or like a remixed version of it tailored to her skills. Which is cool because I remember Ada in the original game being kind of like a fan favorite.
Hmm.
You know, oh, she got this like cool little extra thing, and it's like, she's a cool character and people liked her. And obviously, the sex appeal thing. It's like, oh, she's a
Right.
fucking, hot Asian chick in fucking like a fucking red cat suit.
What could go wrong? Yeah.
Exactly. Then they showed off a story trailer for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, or as everybody else on the internet likes to call it, Far Cry with blue people. Because that's what it is. It's Far Cry with blue people.
uh. Okay.
Um, yeah, I feel like unless it somehow sucks, I feel like maybe this might be a game that we should maybe be paying attention to when it comes out in December.
But Avatar.
Yeah.
Okay.
They showed off a story trailer. Looks good. Like the story looks good. The game looks pretty. The fucking gameplay looks good. I mean, it is 100% Far Cry with blue people, but like nothing about it looks bad
Okay.
unless you don't like Far Cry games, I guess. So we'll
I
see.
mean, yeah.
We'll see. And I think this might be also an important one to watch since this one is being developed by um Balls.
Balls.
No. They're an Ubisoft owned studio, but they're the ones who they have a separate game engine, Snowdrop, and they're the ones that are doing that really exciting Star Wars open world game where you're
Oh,
the smuggler.
I can't think of the name either.
I forget what the fucking Star Wars game is called. But that game looks really cool. And this is by the same people. And this is obviously another huge movie franchise. And so I think it's interesting because they are also handling this one, even though it looks like a Far Cry game, but it's not in the Far Cry engine. So I think this will be interesting to watch from the perspective of it looks, by everything they've shown, it looks like it's a really good game. But it's going to be an interesting one to watch from the perspective of, well, we'll see how they handle an IP, right?
Right.
Because if they handle this with love and aplomb, then obviously the Star Wars one, which looks even better.
Sure. Yeah, and
We'll
I
see.
guess kind of the upside of using Avatar as your franchise is it is kind of open to interpretation. Like, it, whereas Star Wars has been fleshed out down to so much minutia, you could screw it up.
Oh
Right.
yeah, and because Avatar's only had 2 movies.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
even
yeah,
in
yeah,
those
yeah.
2 movies, you basically get foundational knowledge of the races, and that's really it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, there's not a lot of canon you could step on at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. And then because you've seen the Avatar movies, right?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. The story play trailer basically showed that you're playing this female Navi
Mhm. I
who's
watched the trailer.
captured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling for
Okay.
the people who
Okay.
can't see your
Okay.
fucking screen or
Sorry.
hear your fucking headphones. Gotta think about the audience, man. Then this is the part where Nate just goes, "Yeah, fuck the
Yeah.
audience."
Fuck you guys. Catchphrase. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Or in my case, it should be dad joke.
Yeah, it is. So anyways, you play as a female Navi who was captured by a different evil human military group called the RDNA, and you're captured as a young age and trained as a human warrior. And then you get found by the Navi, and then like get reintroduced into the Navi culture. So kind of like a reverse version of the first film.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know what? It's not terrible. Sure, run with it. Then PlayStation showed off a trailer for Ghost Runner 2, which I guess has a playable demo available right now. I have no fucking, I've said this before, I have no fucking idea what Ghost Runner Run is. One is. It's a ghost and he runs in some kind of fucking cyberpunk shit.
Kinda
And
what
then
it
the
looks
trailer
like.
for Ghost Runner 2 looks Tron as balls. And I'm just like, I still don't know what this is. Maybe I should maybe I should download the demo so I can fucking know what this fucking game is that has a sequel. So obviously it must have did well enough.
Right.
Then Sony spent a gratuitous amount of time with weird ass fucking 3D CGI imagery of like fucking earth and magma and wind and fire and silver swirling together in an ambiguous fucking manner for 2.5 fucking minutes until they revealed, oh hey, we have red, blue, and fucking chrome for our fucking controllers and our console fins. Buy them. Ugh. Sony.
We
They
can't
showed
give you a new
off.
console. We can make your old one pretty.
The thing that still hurts me about them selling these absorbent, it's like $60 for the colored fins,
Mm-hmm.
is you can pop the fucking fins off yourself.
Right.
And it costs like what, $4 or $5 to get a can of spray paint and just fucking
Go to town.
yeah, you can paint them whatever fucking color you want. Now, depending on what spray paint you might fucking fall off.
Right.
Recommend a colored Rust-Oleum primer. Not even because I've done it myself. My shit's still fucking basic ass bitch white, but because I work construction and I understand that that's what you should fucking use on plastic so it doesn't chip off.
Right. But again, for most people, your PlayStation goes on the shelf once, doesn't move.
I mean, unless you touch it, because this is a PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's 8 times the size of any router, and it's on its little wobbly fucking platform, whether it's on its fucking side or whether it's on its fucking butt. Sorry, I'm still just irritated by the design of the PS5.
Sure.
They showed off full 4-player co-op gameplay of Helldivers 2, which confirmed the rather ambiguous trailer from a year ago, beginning of the year, something like that, that Helldivers 2 is in fact now a third-person co-op shooter, which is a far cry from its Helldivers 1, which was a top-down twin-stick shooter, and a very fucking good one at that. But the interesting thing to note about Helldivers 2, other than it'll give you, some kind of Unreal Engine 5 Starship Troopers flashbacks to the fucking type of horrific spider monsters that are attacking you.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that's just me. They showcased a co-op action, which I thought was quite novel. One of the guys had like a tube loading rocket launcher, but his character didn't have the ammo for it. So one of the other characters that was like a probably a, I'm guessing. See, that's the thing. Like I'm guessing because there's no
HUD
really
of some sort.
Yeah, like maybe there's classes and then there's like an armorer class maybe, but
Hmm.
basically he was carrying the shells and
And
like
loading
one of the
them.
guy he has to like stand still, get loaded by the co-op partner to like this giant rocket launcher and I was like,
Hmm.
"Hmm,
Right.
interesting. At least that's something different
Right.
that I've not fucking seen in a video game." Good show. And I guess it's out soon. I guess it's out fucking at the end of the month. Um yeah. And I guess I mean I'm gonna download it. I'll check it out, and we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I played a bunch of Helldivers, one both the PS3 and the PS4 remaster. So you know, we'll see whether it's a competent
I
third
just
person
yeah.
shooter
It just
or if it's just.
if it relies on actually having a full fire team of friends,
I
that
mean,
could be
I would hope
frustrating.
not because the first one didn't. The first one scaled. You know, if you were in single player or if you had more people
Right,
with
but
you.
if you
So
need a
we'll see.
second person to load your rocket launcher, stuff like that,
Yeah.
that's going to be frustrating because I remember dealing with the freaking Halo AI and some of the
Mm.
shenanigans it would get up to, and it's just like, nope, I don't want to
Hmm.
play a game where I have to deal with that again.
Yep. They then had a lovely 8 minutes of Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is of
Hmm.
course out next month. They showed off how much bigger the map is. In fact, it's 2 times as big, which is to be expected since it's a sequel. Um, they then showed off that there are 8 um, digital deluxe, if you spend extra money to buy the game, costumes for both Peter and Miles.
Hmm.
Um, which, if you're a huge webhead like myself, it's like, okay, well, I was gonna get that anyway.
Right.
So, all right, cool. And then if not, if costumes aren't your thing, that's fine. This confused the shit out of me as someone who only knows of this series as being like in the upper echelon of JRPGs. Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn, I guess, is like a full on expansion or like 1.5 sequel to some other Tales of Arise that came out before this one. And this is a continuation of whichever Tales of Arise. And see, that's the thing that's confusing to me as a person who has not played this series is they said very clearly, purchase of Tales of whatever is required to play this DLC. Like in the trailer, it was in the little
Okay.
fucking thing, and I'm like, that's cool. I I don't. If I had played the first one and loved it, sure, but this isn't hitting for me. And actually, and maybe that's one of the games I'll get to at some point.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll
it
see.
looks pretty.
Then, hilarious to bring it up again, Honkai Star Rail PS5 version launches October 10th. Um, I will obviously download it and link my account and give it a
Well,
go.
hopefully you're allowed to link it, or
Oh fuck! I really hope it's not a Tower of Fantasy situation
hmm.
where it's just fucked. I don't think it will because Genshin Impact lets you link between all the different versions.
Right.
And that's obviously the same developer.
Yeah, and they have. It
And
looks like they have an established back end of that. That, like, again, the only thing stopping it would be some sort of red tape from Sony with
yeah,
account linking, which we've seen them do before.
yeah, yep. Don't don't hurt me. Cause yeah, I would totally fucking play that on
Sure.
my TV. They showed this fucking piece of shit
Yeah,
fucking
Splatoon again.
Splatoon wannabe
Yeah.
that doesn't even have a release date, but has like an open fucking beta coming at the end of the month. And I'm just like, who is this for?
It's a party game. That's all this is.
It's a
It's gonna satisfy the same itch as Fall Guys, and yeah.
I think I just hissed in the mic for
Yeah, no,
like
I
a
heard
good
it.
40 seconds.
I see the
Uh
vein forming in Tim's forehead.
yeah. Then yeah, then something that really really tickled my fancy, which is why I said this whole thing was mid to great. So everything
Mhm.
before was mid, and then this is the great. We had a big ass fucking blowout Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer with release date finally. Um, comes out like January, February 10th. I don't have the date in front of me. But comes out early, like fucking like it's gonna be the
February
first.
29th.
Yeah, it's gonna be the first big boy title of 2024.
Mhm.
And then separately, there was a developer post about Final Fantasy Rebirth that, oh boy, did this blow some Final Fantasy VII people's minds, including my own. They're promising over 100 hours of gameplay, full open world, which nobody expected,
Mhm.
because they showed off some like stuff that looked like open world segments, and then they're like, "Nah, dog, we're doing it."
Well, and one thing I noticed is it said at the very end on 2 discs. So is this gonna
Yes,
be it won't require any network? Like, you can actually, stand alone this, play it offline?
I mean, yeah, I assume so. It was
Okay,
that way with
hey,
the first
that's
one.
that's a departure from the norm for the big console makers now at this point. It's like, where your disc is basically an access key.
Yeah, I
So,
understand what you mean, but Square Enix hasn't really done that with their titles.
good.
So,
Well, good for them.
they give you the game, you pay them a shitload of money, and then you thank them as a sign of respect so that you don't get murdered, and then you go on your way and you play the fucking Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm obviously stoked about that. It again showed some story stuff that is playing like fuck with the 30, 20 plus year old story of
Right.
this remake of Final Fantasy VII. Like it showed playable Zack, who's supposed to be dead. It showed maybe playable Sephiroth. Fucking, I don't,
What?
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. And then hilariously in their developer post, in answer to some Q&A that I don't know, somebody asked them or they made up to have prepared for this. They're like, "So, we know this is going to be a Final Fantasy VII remake trilogy, and this is part 2." They're like,
Mhm.
"Where can we expect part 2 to end?" And then the director said, "All I can tell you is that it's a scene you're dying to see."
Oh, fuck you.
And I'm like,
Which,
"Man,
man, but
do you
that's
know?"
yeah, oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. And I'm like, ugh.
And that's still pretty early in the game, though.
But here's the thing with 100 hours and like,
Well, I'm saying they're gonna give you 100
the
hours and they're
some
gonna
of the
end it
story might be out
there?
of,
Yeah,
it might be in a different sequence. Now we don't know
sure.
because it's a remake, but it's different,
Yeah.
but it's not, but it is. And I've said it before. The first entry did that in just such a fun, delightful way
Mhm.
for fans who've been waiting for fucking ever for this game. And obviously we'll continue the wait for the third part. But I don't know, that's not too bad. We got the first one in 2020. Then we'll get this in the beginning of 2024. So
Sure.
three 3 years.
Well, and I think a lot of that development cycle was, work from home, figuring all that out post pandemic
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
because they launched it like right as
yeah.
COVID hit. Because it was a COVID game for me. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm so glad I have Doom Eternal and I have Final Fantasy VII
Right.
Remake. You know,
Right. But
because
again, at that point,
yeah,
it was basically done. So
yeah, it was done.
that development cycle wasn't really impacted by.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so probably the
but
start of
but
this development cycle
this
was impacted.
particular one definitely was impacted by it. So
Yeah.
we may not have to wait another 3.5 years for part three to come out. May not.
Well,
May not.
and a lot of people were actually surprised, especially since um Rebirth is next gen only. Like it's like there is not a PS4 version. Um a lot of people are surprised that they didn't shift to Unreal Engine 5 already
Sure.
because it is an Unreal Engine game. Um because there's a lot of doing a little dub step over there.
Yes.
Dubstep Nate in the house. Wub, wub.
Wubble wubble.
Yeah. No, seriously, what are you doing? Yeah,
Oh, I
man.
unmuted a video
Hmm. I see.
on
I
accident
see. I see.
for the next state of play. I was watching for
Oh,
the
okay.
trailer.
You're already looking at the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Just just I have it on and I saw something that made me rewind and accidentally hit unmute.
Okay, I see. So then jumping over to the other one, we had a Nintendo Direct
Hmm.
that happened at the beginning of this day. And there was a ton of stuff. I don't think there's anything like particularly like holy fuck. Um, like how they revealed a couple ones ago the Super Mario Wonder
Hmm.
thing and all that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, so we'll just get into it here. They released a Paper Mario Thousand Year Door HD that is coming next year on Switch. And I've seen people have been who are fans of the Paper Mario franchise have been really quick to point out that it is super fucking annoying in the video game industry that there is not a really clear delineation between remake, remaster, or when you slap HD on it.
Right.
Because apparently, and I didn't play this originally, I guess it's the GameCube Paper Mario, but I guess it was super super well loved.
Sure.
People have already done side by sides, and they're like, "This isn't fucking HD. This is a fucking remake. Like, what is Nintendo fucking doing?"
Right.
uh, because since obviously it relies heavily on a lot of 2D visuals, people have been quick to point out they're like that these are not the same assets.
Right.
Motherfuckers like redrew these assets. Like this is way
This is
more
not.
than an
Yeah.
HD. This
Yeah.
is not the Pikmin 1 and 2 HD that is literally running a emulation of GameCube hardware.
Hmm.
Like this is way more. Another game nobody expected is a Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake is coming to Nintendo Switch on February 16, 2024. Um, this is interesting because this is actually a remake of a Game Boy Advance game that was like a really odd puzzle stage
Hmm.
game that's loosely based on the obviously the original arcade Donkey Kong, which featured Jumpman before he was called Mario. In like this puzzling platforming thing.
It had a little hint of like Donkey Kong Jr. in there at some point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They also announced, to again everybody's surprise, the first new F-Zero game in probably like 20 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
Is an odd one. F-Zero 99 is a battle royale F-Zero racing game with Super NES graphics.
Right? It looks so retro in all the best ways.
Yeah. And so it's exactly what you'd expect. It's F-Zero with 99 racers, playable online with real people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a race till you're the last one racing
Right.
race game.
It's basically like Tetris 99.
Yeah, it's exactly like Tetris
Yeah.
99
Where
because they
they
even
didn't
fucking called it F-Zero
Yeah.
99.
Again, where they didn't update or upgrade the engine at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't downloaded this yet. It's available to all people who have an active Nintendo Switch Online subscription. So I guess free or a bonus. I will download this because I actually love F-Zero.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard from one of the main podcasts that I listen to who tweeted out a picture of this, and he's like, "Fuck, I am addicted to this." I saw it earlier today, and I'm like, "Ooh, maybe it's dope." So we'll see.
It scratches all those itches, so
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred not the Super NES graphics because
oh,
now at this
why?
point, well, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love retro games, but the Mode 7 racing style that's used for the Super NES Genesis era
Mm-hmm.
racing games, like they are good for those games.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 3D is the way to go for racers.
No. Because
Yes.
then you could just have Mario Kart 99.
Well, they haven't done that yet, but obviously, don't tempt them.
I'm tempting them. Do it.
Moving on, they finally revealed the Princess Peach game, Princess Peach Showtime. It's released on March 22nd, 2024.
What makes it Showtime?
She's going to like a theater themed land and has a magic bow, and she's got to do some shit with some stuff.
Okay.
I don't have any knowledge to pretend to understand what type of game this actually is, other than it looks like it's 3D and it's like a platformer, maybe.
Ish? Yeah. Minigame
Yeah,
ish.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
This is interesting, and I feel like I can speak intelligently on this one because I played all the originals
This is
in
the one
their
that made me
original
I
fucking
was like, did I just
forms.
see what I think I saw? And ended up
Yeah.
unmuting it.
So Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered the original trilogy. Like, see,
Yes.
this is another one that's really annoying because it's not a remaster. And I
But it
say that,
kinda is.
no, because they already did this with Tomb Raider Anniversary by Crystal Dynamics, where they remade these games in the new engine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is a remake. And that's why they called it Tomb Raider Anniversary. And it was fucking fantastic. This is literally, so first of all, the game's being made by Aspire, who are the port masters who've done a bazillion LucasArts games and a bazillion ports and a bazillion things. And they're doing the Halo Anniversary thing where you can toggle in real time between
Mm-hmm.
the original graphics, which admittedly look like ass,
Yes.
or a low poly better graphics.
Right.
um yeah, so it has updated visuals, and it also includes the game's expansions and secret levels as well. Now, my real question about those games, do you know what I'm going to ask, Nate?
Go ahead.
So how are they going to control And I say this because the original Tomb Raider trilogy,
Had some
when
jank.
played,
Yeah.
is some tank ass hit a WASD with the
Mm-hmm.
left arrow to rotate Lara, to then hold shift and then R to reach her arms out, to then press spacebar to leap forward. And fuck you if you let go of shift R, because she ain't gonna grab that ledge on her own, bitch,
Right.
and fall fall to her death.
Well,
So my
if you
question is,
no, it's not the fault of the death. I like fault of the death. Great, I have a save point. I can go back and try it again. What I hated was the fall to the floor below that takes you
mm,
15 minutes to get back.
yeah, because you got to rotate, turn around, get
Yeah.
to, yep. Mm-hmm. I I played these
Mm-hmm.
on Mac with a whatever the fucking Rage
Mm-hmm.
GPU equivalent
Mm-hmm.
was on Mac back in the day.
Right.
I spent probably an ungodly amount of hundreds of frustrated yet engaged hours,
Mm-hmm.
and was terrified every time there was a dog.
Right. Because you had to move that camera, aim, dodge,
Oh,
roll.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you woke up in the morning, your fingers are just like,
I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, but no, they were, yeah, it was a thing.
yep.
Certainly a thing. Yeah, so that's interesting. That's cool for people, but I would caution people about this game. You're an old school gamer like myself or Nate, you might pick this up and have some good old fucking memories and fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a new school Lara Croft fan, you better fucking watch a video review, and if they don't say they didn't update the controls,
You better get a
whew,
foam bumper for your Switch.
you
Because you are going to rage throw that control.
you are in for
Yeah.
a fucking time, that's for sure. I can
The
just see the conversations now.
Tomb Raider might
Bruh.
have been the only game that ever caused me to break a keyboard, and I've played a lot of games.
I think I threw a mouse,
Mm-hmm. I
and
believe
that
it.
was really bad because it was my dad's mouse, and that was not okay.
Yeah.
And those things had short cords back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I can imagine the conversations in the future. It's like, bruh,
Yeah.
I beat Elden Ring. I'm an Elden Lord. Then they're like, oh yeah, did you play the Tomb Raider 1 through 3
The
remasters?
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, the Tomb Raider, like I'm a fucking old guy.
Back in my day, Lara Croft had square boobies.
They weren't square, they're triangles. Thank you very much. They're triangles.
Yes.
And we liked the pixelated cleavage, all right?
Right.
This is actually kind of a bummer. Um, honestly. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is out next summer. Boo. That's a missed opportunity. Next month is October. I know it's busy with Mario and Spider-Man, and actually probably because Mario's out, that's probably why Nintendo's not launching it. But it's a fucking Ghostbusters game, and you're not releasing it. You're releasing it next summer for real.
Mm-hmm. Not in October.
Lame.
Yeah.
Lame. So lame. There's a Splatoon expansion pass called Side Order that's coming out in spring 2024. They showed some gameplay of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, where interestingly, you do not play as the Prince of Persia. Plays like the Prince of Persia's guard, trying to
Right.
do
Yeah.
shit to protect the Prince of Persia in a Metroidvania fashion.
Yeah. It
I've
looks
said
decent.
before, Metroidvania and Prince of Persia, I feel like if you do that right, that could be something special.
Mm-hmm.
Because did you ever play the original Prince of Persia?
Yes.
Yeah,
Again, also rage
with
inducing, like, oh, you
yeah,
missed
so
that
much,
jump?
so much.
Yeah. That
You know what it reminded me of? Like, even when I was a kid playing the original Prince of Persia, it reminded me of, like, a way cooler Pitfall,
yes.
like, for real. Because that's kind of what it is.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, kind of really difficult side scrolling and traversal stuff coupled with Metroidvania exploration and upgrades. I was like, ooh, that could be
Yeah, like, and I
that. Could,
guess, this generation would say Celeste is that game.
that is a game I have still never played.
Yeah. And
I
it
I
scratches that
I don't
same
even
itch
know if I don't even know
just
if that's a Metroidvania
platforming.
game.
It's platforming heaven.
Mm. But see, platforming heaven isn't necessarily Metroidvania though.
Right. But like the
No.
original Prince of Persia, Persia, um,
Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia,
Yeah.
it was the platformer that wasn't Pitfall, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't so much a Metroidvania back in its heyday. It was just it
No,
was a
I'm not
really
calling it the
good,
original Metroidvania. I'm
yeah,
just saying I feel like that plus this,
yeah,
maybe,
maybe.
maybe. And then they had some more gameplay for the Super Mario RPG remake, which everybody is sizzling about because nobody thought that Square Enix would let them remake that game, and here we are. And it's coming out still November 17th, 2023. And then because we have to have some weird ass shit, Trombone Champ.
'Cause
It's
we were just ragging on Foam Splatoon, and Splatoon got an expansion pass, and now we have, you know, rock band trombone style.
yep. It's a rhythm game,
Mm-hmm.
except on the Switch. Apparently, it came out on PC last year. Except on the Switch, you're going to take advantage of gyro controls
Mm-hmm.
and the infrared motion sensor to trombone champ rock band up your shit.
Right, but you're not actually playing the thing. You're just literally like moving. You're pointing a remote control at a line on the screen, and hopefully you're accurate.
Hmm. Indeed. Um,
This game's a real toot.
Go home. Um, Dave the Driver arrives on Switch next month. PC exclusive title
Mm-hmm.
is coming to Switch on October 26th.
It's got
Don't
nothing but good reviews on it too. So good.
I don't know, like I don't I don't know anything about this
Yeah.
other than people say it's good.
You
Clicked on a
dive
thing.
to get fish to make sushi,
Mhm.
and that's basically the gameplay loop. It just obviously you can upgrade and go deeper and hold more fish, and it's
Mhm.
a real simple gameplay loop. Apparently, it's doing very good in every single review.
Yep.
So
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 6, which is the last one, I might add, comes out this holiday. It includes new racing tracks, Daisy Circuit, and Mario Kart from the Wii, in addition to 4 new racers, and a couple of these are really interestingly important. Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, those are the important ones because those are the ones that are controversially owned by Rare, which is now owned by Microsoft, which is why we have never seen fucking Diddy Kong in Mario Kart since those times. And obviously just continues to show how strong that is.
right.
And I guess for that matter, spoiler alert for those who've seen the uh, Super Mario Brothers animated film that came out this year, those characters were in that movie, so probably something got worked out, I imagine. It also will include Pauline, who's the lead not the lead, but like one of the main new female people introduced in Super Mario Odyssey. And then Peachette, which is an odd one to include as the last racer in your Mario Kart, but okay, sure. We had another trailer for Detective Pikachu Returns that had a cinematic trailer, which I had to like laugh at. So I know the sequence of events, right? We had a Detective Pikachu game. It was super popular. It then inspired the Detective Pikachu movie
You're right.
with Ryan Reynolds that was a smash hit. And because Warner Brothers is dumb, we're not getting another one. It's true. Warner Brothers is
No,
a
I
bunch
know.
of fucking just idiots. But what struck me as hilarious was the story trailer basically revolved around uh like Mewtwo and finding the main you play a main character named Tim. I'm not making that up. And his father, because
Is he the enchanter?
and you're trying to find Tim's father. And I'm like, isn't that the fucking plot of the movie? Because it is.
Because it is. Yeah.
And then Nintendo continues to drive the dagger in those of us who love their amiibos, like myself, by announcing amiibos and then announcing release dates for them that are so fucking far into the future that I will forget about them. The final character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is getting the Sora amiibo. Um, no, with no release date for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tears of the Kingdom is getting Zelda and Ganondorf. Those are coming out November 3rd. And then characters Noah and oh wow, Mio is spelled wrong here, I might add. Reading this off at IGN.com right now, by the way, for shame. Noah and Mia, who are the two main characters in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, are getting their own amiibos on January 19th, 2024. They will also unlock 8 outfits for the entire main cast in the game when you scan them, because that's the bonus that they give.
Because
It
that's
just
the whole point
always,
of amiibos, right? Amiibos.
I mean, I guess. See, I mean, here's the thing that's always bugged me about amiibos. Amiibos did really, really fucking cool shit when they were first announced, and still do in Smash Brothers, because you can
Mm-hmm.
create an AI fighter of that character and train them, and it's like a whole ass fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use them in real fights and stuff. It's fucking awesome. And then every other fucking game, it's like, hey, here's a skin
Right.
that you get that's in the game but gets unlocked because you paid the $15 to $20 for the little piece of plastic with the NFC chip that says, hey, unlock.
Right.
Anyway. Horizon Chase 2 is available on Nintendo Switch as of right now. I will say, right off the rip, unless this game has a poor frame rate, go out and get this game. I'm a huge fan of the Horizon Chase games. The first one was they tried to emulate like a racing version of the original Outrun, complete with stylistic graphics that,
Yes. Okay.
um, ironically, going back to the thing you were talking about with F-Zero, we're literally doing like a faux Mode 7, though in 3D, made to look like the old school racing games, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fucking perfect. And then Horizon Chase 2 moves to full 3D and tries to emulate like the really early, like if you've ever played a 3D racing game of any kind in an arcade, that's what this game is, and it does it fucking amazingly. Super super great game. I've played it, I've beat it. It's fucking awesome. It's addictive. And the music is by longtime famous racing composer Barry Litch, the Scotsman that could, just bangers of a soundtrack all the way through. I only bring that up because he's the famed composer of the Top Gear games and
Okay.
just about actually he probably did the music in those 3D arcade racing games that you played. Because that's what he's known for. And he just does amazing music that just fits racing and high energy. And Horizon Chase 2 is great. And I'm talking about it because I know it because it was a launch title on Apple Arcade a year or so ago and was fantastic. Very, very, very good game.
All right.
This is an odd one. So, this is a collection of 2 games that were called Trace Memory, but is now being called Another Code Recollection. And it has Another Code to Memory and Another Code R in them, which I guess were mystery games on the DS that then came to the Wii and are now being remade for Switch. Those are coming out January 19th, 2024. I've not played these games, but there was a slew of like really creative, like adventure novel book detective games. And I played a handful of them on the DS back in the game. So I imagine this is probably what that's like. So this is probably good. It's probably good. Check that out. JRPG Saga Emerald Beyond arrives next year by Square Enix.
That one looks fancy.
Pretty, yeah, it looks fancy as hell. The thing that I was confused about, because I've heard the name Saga before, is this a remake of something, or is this like a new game in the Saga series?
Yeah, who knows?
Because I can't fucking tell anymore. Yeah. Unicorn Overlord is a new tactics RPG from the developers behind 13 Sentinels. That's coming out March 8th. A Udian Chronicle 100 Heroes targets an April 2024 release date, which is billed as a Suikoden spiritual successor. And Suikoden should ring true for any major JRPG fans out there as just like a ridiculously in-depth JRPG, the likes of which you've never seen, involving like a whole last generation of people as your party. So the fact that it says 100 heroes and they're saying it's Suikoden and it was funded on Kickstarter.
Oh, nice.
Maybe one to look for. WarioWare Move It is being released in November. And because we have to have something that's not video game related, but kind of video game related, I guess there's a Nintendo museum that's going to open up in Kyoto.
Oh, okay.
In 2024. So that's
Cool.
all the things.
Why not?
That's all the things. Yeah. All right. Let's move on and spin and try to.
Right. I'm going to open a window real quick.
Go for it. Okay. We've landed on technology. Huzzah. So let's go scroll a bitty bit back up here. It's been a while. I don't know if I talked about this last episode or not. India's lunar rover beams back video images from the moon's surface.
About this offline, I think.
Did we? We talked about it offline. Okay.
Yeah.
I had no fucking idea.
Well, not lunar rover, lunar lander.
Whatever.
What's the difference?
Indians put rockets and stuff in space and put it on the moon.
Yeah.
I had no idea they even fucking had that capability. I'm not even mean like mean or rude or anything.
Right.
I'm just like,
It's just not in the news. It's not in
I
the news a lot. So,
pay attention to like NASA and the Canadian Space Agency and the Japanese Space Agency and stuff like that.
hmm
And, cosmonauts and stuff like that. And
hmm
obviously like SpaceX and Blue Origin and all this shit. And then just out of left field, yo, India put a thing on the moon. You're like,
hmm
what?
landed one
What?
safely after Russia just
What?
crashed one. Yeah.
What? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
um, surprising absolutely fucking nobody. Apple signs new deal with ARM to license chip designs beyond 2040.
Now I know it doesn't surprise anyone, but you I guess you'd think they'd get away from that and do their own shit.
I mean, the ultimate problem is ARM was theirs
hmm
once upon a time,
hmm
and then they sold it to get out of debt. And then when ARM recently went public and they bought the largest fucking volume of shares you've ever fucking seen in your life,
Right.
pretty
Basically bought it
instantly.
back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't own you, but we're the majority shareholder, so we
Yeah,
own you.
yeah. That fucking surprised absolutely fucking nobody.
Right.
And all the most powerful chips right now are ARM,
hmm
and that stuff is very, very, very locked down intellectual property wise. It's
Sure.
being owned by ARM, much like Intel's x86,
Right.
which
And
AMD won some battles and circumvented, and it's very similar, but it's like a fork of that, if you would.
if you go back in the
Um,
annals of this podcast, I was the x86 guy that was like, it will never die. It will never die. And so far I've been right. But no, Tim, I know. Look at you. He's prepping. The writing is on the wall. And I know
hey,
this.
you know how your NVIDIA GPU works?
Mm-hmm. No, I know. It's again, the
What
writing is on the
what's in it?
wall. Yeah, it's an ARM Cortex chip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's what's in your phone?
Yeah. Tim, I already conceded this point to you.
I know, but we're doing it.
It
What's in
hasn't
your phone,
happened yet.
Nate?
It hasn't happened yet. I'm still. My PC still runs x86
Don't you
or
got
ARM
a
six, not ARM 64.
smartwatch there, Nate?
My baloney has a first name. It's OSCAR.
Hey, didn't you say you had a Roku?
Keep going.
Okay.
I'm sure my mixer board is running ARM chips too.
Maybe, isn't it? Isn't it older?
Older what?
I don't know. I don't know the age of your mixer board.
The Roadcaster? That's pretty new.
Hmm.
But
I don't
yeah,
know.
I'm pretty sure
Maybe.
it's inerts
Hmm.
and DSP is all running on ARM chips. So no, I get it. Get it. My PC hasn't gone that way yet. Yet.
Yeah.
So
Okay, one more. Hey. No, I'm done. I'm done.
yes, my
Yeah. So,
Alexa's probably run on
oh
ARM
yeah,
chips.
all the
Yeah. Yeah.
well, well, no, it's still ARM based. Trying to think of. Oh, sorry. Well, because if it was Amazon's own chip, I was like, yes, that's still ARM. What was it called? The Proton platform or some shit?
I have no idea.
I don't remember.
Jeez.
I found this fascinating. Chinese government is expanding government iPhone ban.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just thought this was fascinating for my, you hear about phone bans and stuff all the time in the United States
Mm-hmm.
for like what the United States is banning.
Right.
And you don't really hear about it in other countries. And I just thought it was an interesting little flipperoo,
Right.
as it were.
Especially considering where does the iPhone come from for the most part,
Sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand the United States government
Sure.
blocking or banning, what is it, Huawei, hardware and cell phones.
Well, and something that the public might not know or even care too much about. Um, iPhones didn't always exist in China to actually be used in China
Mm-hmm.
till like 10 or something like that. Like it was not, they did not always have them.
Right.
And then when they did introduce them, like they straight up have a different iPhone. Like it is
Yeah.
a different model
Mm-hmm.
that is made for them for the Chinese market.
Mm-hmm.
And it has some quirks to it that we don't see or ever hear about here.
Right.
So, yeah. Um oh, hello. Where are you? Hang on. I have a thing I need to kill.
Oh, do you have a critter?
Yeah.
It's not me swatting flies for once. It's you killing spiders.
I have killed it with
Fire.
magic trackpad Apple. It's like a little it's like a little thing. I don't know.
Mhm.
Had wings. Dead.
That's my job on this side of the podcast. I'm the one that's supposed to be killing the flying bugs. See any this week?
No.
Yeah.
Are you trying hard not to breathe because you have a bunch of gas floating around in your room?
No. No, we've just passed that part of the summer that
Hmm.
they bloom and breed, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we've gone through that cycle.
Oh, good. All right. Microsoft says it will take the heat if Copilot AI commercial users get sued.
Yeah, we'll see if that actually holds true.
Yeah, that's true.
Some
We'll see.
users of Microsoft's Copilot platforms can turn to the company if they get sued for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Long and short is, I guess, this is the growing pains of AI. We've got to start putting in the guardrails, and if you want to be the one that pushes Copilot out into the wild, you're gonna have to take some financial risk.
So I'm gonna straight up raise my hand and sound dumb for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What is the fucking difference between Copilot AI and
Cortana.
Bing's Cortana AI or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
Nothing.
Explain it to me, Nate.
There is no difference. It's just they're I guess they're using their Bing, the whatever iteration of AI they're using for the Bing search engine
Mm-hmm.
is now being built into Copilot. And if you say, "Hey, compose me a song,"
No, no. What I'm saying is, I don't understand what Copilot is. I understand what Bing is. Bing is a search engine, and you can use OpenAI in it. Like I can use the OpenAI and Skype right
mm-hmm.
now. What what's Copilot? Because the last thing that I heard Copilot called in a Microsoft context was in Xbox, where you could
Mm-hmm.
have two controllers simultaneously
Mm-hmm.
to help your kids.
Kind of the same thing. So, say you were writing,
Okay.
in your case, you were writing your novel,
Okay.
right? Your next great work of art, and you've gotten through like 3 chapters, and you're like, "Hold on, does this make sense?" Copilot,
Mm-hmm.
summarize this for me. Here you go. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Can you rewrite chapter 2 for me?
Mm.
Done. Right.
Mm.
So it's just a
So is it
It's a
is it a
production tool.
Windows extension, or how
Hmm.
does that?
Yeah,
It's the Windows extension
yeah.
version of that now.
It's
Okay.
basically Clippy went and got smart,
Hmm. Gotcha. Okay.
right? If you remember Clippy, anyone that remembers
Oh
Clippy, that's
yes.
take your aspirin, get your
Yeah.
just for men hair dye.
Oh man.
But yeah, Copilot is basically AI Clippy.
Yep. And then for you new kids out there who also watch Star Trek and animated comedy shows, think Badgie from Lower Decks.
Okay.
They have a com badge gone
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So, anyways, and then the last big tech thing is, of course, Apple had their. I thought this was the dumbest fucking name ever for an event, by the way. Like, typically, when Apple names their event, it's usually something to do with the products
Sorry, Tim. I had to go
involved.
back into video games to find that.
Oh, what? Copilot?
No, the Apple event.
Oh. I already talked about part of it. I won't recover the same thing. I'm talking about the other tech parts of it, okay?
I know. I know. I know.
Apple's Wanderlust event,
Yes.
which I watched, and as the typical Apple zealot I am, I must say, I was wondering if there was indeed any
Any wonder
Wanderlust
or lust? Yeah.
in the event. I mean, don't get me wrong. I
You wondered
would
where the
love
lust was.
I would love to have all the things. I don't need any of the things this year.
Hmm. I think the only
Um,
thing that even caught my eye in the slightest was the iPhone 15 Pro is now made of titanium. It's about fucking time.
I mean,
It's about fucking
yeah.
time.
I mean, well, the rumors have been forever,
Right.
and Apple has flirted with titanium before because my father had back in the day the PowerBook G4 titanium,
Hmm.
which was a surprisingly fucking heavy notebook.
Right.
It was
Like they
super
had to
fucking
go
heavy.
titanium, otherwise that thing would have been a brick.
No, I don't. I mean, the problem with that was the titanium. It didn't have good thermals,
No, of course not.
and ultimately that is the problem with titanium
Hmm.
to be used for these type of computer devices. They're using a grade 5 titanium, which is the same type of grade as used
And
for the
mind you,
stuff that's sent into
only
space.
for the outer shell. Yeah.
Yes. So the band that would be the aluminum or the stainless steel of every other iPhone you've probably seen for the last fucking decade,
Hmm. That
um,
little piece
is
of metal
now
in between the two pieces of glass. Yeah.
yes, is now titanium, specifically and only on the pro end models. That is then molecular bonded to per Apple a completely redesigned aluminum sub chassis
Hmm.
built with the thermals in mind. Which sure, I guess that makes sense. We'll see the thermals soon.
Shortly. Yeah.
We'll have lots of tests on that. I'm very curious about that myself. Because don't get me wrong, I love titanium. My wedding ring
Hmm.
is made out of titanium. And it is super light and has been beat to shit. Still looks pretty good. Um, yeah, I like titanium. I like titanium chopsticks. Titanium is great. But yeah, we'll see on the thermals because that's where my concern has always been.
Sure. And that's where it should
Um,
be.
yeah, based purely on all the heating problems my dad had with that PowerBook G4. Like, cause he had like the little like wedge dock to like keep the back end raised up so that
Right.
it
So it
wasn't
could,
like it had
yeah.
some more air traveling
Yeah.
underneath it,
It
like
could
the
fart
whole
out the
nine
heat.
yards. Hmm. Yeah, that thing was wild. Um, yeah, so iPhone 15 coming in at $799. Regular 15s and 15 plus coming in at $899, and 15 Pro Max coming in at $1199. Now, I will say though, on the 15 Pro Max, it does get one extra feature. Um, it gets a 7x prismatic camera system, and this is interesting because this actually flies against the rumor that has been circling around all year that they were going to get a mechanically telephotoing lens,
Hmm.
because I think it was like Huawei or maybe some Samsung phones like have this already, and it worked with like a physical geared setup that moved up and down a slide. And that is not what Apple presented. They presented some really crazy ass prism solid state shit, um, which I thought was pretty cool because it's not what literally anyone was expecting. Um, because they expected it to be like the competitors, and it's not. Whether or not it's better than competitors, I guess we'll know again shortly. And then again, the big thing is the fucking. You just send me a thing. Death Star Pro Max. Yeah, okay. Old joke, because we've had the same fucking Sam Fisher camera array for
Hmm.
fucking 5 phones now. Um, the the 15 Pros get the new latest and greatest Apple silicone built on 3 nanometer.
Hmm.
And this is kind of a big deal because it was supposed to have come last year and it didn't. And they got some fucking, what was it, 4 nanometer plus edge or some shit.
Right.
Um,
They
kind
got
of
really
like a
damn
half,
close.
it was a half step,
Yeah.
which I think in the last decade is the first time TSMC has really not made their nanometer targets.
Right.
And I've said it before, and I'll continue saying it till we get there. 3 nanometer is a huge fucking deal for the entire computer industry
Hmm.
because this means huge performance gains for battery, huge performance gains for however the chips are being built and what they can do, what they can fit into the
Thermals. Yeah.
package, thermal, everything across the board. It is also the penultimate, the second to last nanometer that we as humans can physically achieve, at least using silicon technology,
Right.
with only 2 nanometer being left. At that point, you probably won't hear fucking anybody talk about nanometers anymore
Hmm.
because we'll have achieved it. It'll roll out to every fucking thing except for fucking Intel.
Right. I almost feel like we're gonna have that. Um, we've been playing the cell phone game with nanometers for so long. Like you remember, we used to have giant phones, and we got them down to the size that they were a stick of gum,
Mhm.
and then we went, "Cool, we can do that." Now let's
Yeah.
just make them bigger again, but we're going to use that same tech, and we're going to just have 48 core super processors that are
I mean, the fact of the matter is, if the iPhone 15 Pros, what's it, the A17 Pro
Mhm.
chip in it, can run Resident Evil 4 remake.
Sure.
Like, think about that for a second.
Yeah. Well, and again,
Like,
think about the
j-
applications where size and thermals isn't an issue.
oh, sure.
It's just the amount of
Well,
raw processing power you can have with 3 nanometer tech.
and I also think of it this way. The way Apple's chip patterns have gone is the latest and greatest launches in their iPhone.
Mhm.
They then make a bigger, more powerful version for the iPad, and then we get the Mac chip, which is hella beefy,
Mhm.
and then we get the next 5 tiers to the full end, the extent that silicon
Unless
can
you're Apple
go
TV.
with the
Yes.
fine. You got one jab, you little x86 crone. You got one well placed jab.
Yes.
Fine.
Quality over
Ow.
quantity.
Ow. Got me. And then he takes a sip from his red solo cup. Jesus. X86 guys, I tell you. Um, but yeah, so the fact that we're here is super exciting for that. It's super exciting for the next chips that they make.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine how much more powerful the future M3 chip that's not even announced
sure.
yet is going to be now, because it's like, holy shit, everybody has seen what they've done with, a few nanometers bigger and it's insane. And it's like, and this is the next jump. And then the other way that I wanted to, I don't think I said in gaming, but they did mention that they completely redesigned their graphics cores. And the
Right.
way that I think of this is, I would like to, and I might be wrong about this. This is Tim's own personal spin on how he views this. I think of this as the equivalent of how AMD talks about their RDNA
Hmm.
stuff, and it's like we had RDNA 1 stuff. It's like, okay, now we have RDNA 2 stuff. Now we have RDNA 3 stuff. I think, given the type of games that they're showing on this type of stuff, that this is the kind of leap that they're taking. And I just have to wonder if, in the Geekbench tests and the test marks and stuff with the people with the really really high end Macs that are comparing it to their high end PC workstations, is now that this technology has arrived, and whenever the M3 stuff and the high end of that stuff arrives, is that is this the moment where Apple finally jumps ahead of current leaders AMD and Nvidia in the graphics race?
Sure.
I wonder. I wonder, you know.
Well, I mean,
Because if
and
they're
again,
if
Intel's trying to get back in the game with their stuff, and like you said before,
Mhm,
was it's compelling. It just isn't supported, and therein lies the rub.
sure.
They may actually have superior technology, but if you can't get the developers on board,
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not a gulf there,
right?
and there always will be until,
And
the pendulum swings.
the advantage that Apple has is they have their own platform. They can be like, okay, we're going to
Mhm,
make MacBooks, and we're going to include our MacBook graphics cards or graphics
sure.
technology, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just pleased to see that their graphic stuff has evolved so quickly.
sure.
Um, having been the Apple person and having been laughed at by PC for a very long time for that. And now it's like, hey,
The foot's in the other shoe. Yeah,
look what we
yeah.
can do with a battery attached to it. And you're now currently being mauled by a cat.
Drooled all over. Jesus.
Gross.
Yeah.
Lame. A couple of other things. They also announced the Apple Watch Series 9, and of course a new Apple Watch Ultra, the Ultra 2. Um, Visually on the outside, it
Really? You
looks
just skip by the whole elephant in the room?
what elephant in the room?
The USB-C stuff?
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. And then Apple put USB-C on fucking everything, including their fucking
And claim they were doing it for
ear,
goodwill and as a technology
earpods. And,
upgrade. Yeah,
yeah.
bastards.
Well, not on the regular iPhone 15s. Those still run at 450
But it's still
lower
USB-C.
Mbps.
Yes.
Oh, whoop de fucking do.
Yeah.
I will say, in talking with my photography buddy, he was pretty excited that the 15 Pros, you could hook an external SSD to and record your. Looks like he just balled you.
Mm-mm. Biscuits. Right in the top of the kneecap.
Biscuits?
Cats, they make biscuits. They need the bread.
Wow, I've never heard them that termed as
Oh,
biscuits
okay.
before, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Right,
Well,
right
then
on the
throw
knee.
that fucking raccoon tail ass looking thing out the window.
This is the one I'm house sitting.
Oh, not your normal cat.
No.
Understood. Yeah. So all Apple products, with the exception of, I have to think about it now. Well, I guess really with the exception of fucking the keyboard and mouse
Mm-hmm.
are now USB-C.
USB-C. And
And iPhone
and
15 has
again, they'll
Thunderbolt.
say it's for altruistic reasons, but it was because they lost a lawsuit in the UK, and it's easier just to change everything than to have a
It
separate
actually
SKU.
wasn't a lawsuit, Nate.
What was it?
It was the Union's version of the FTC
Yes.
made a law,
Yes.
and that is why.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So you can thank Europe
ow.
for your USB-C. I'm sure I'll be fine with it
Mm-hmm.
when I get an iPhone 16, probably next year, because that's when I'm planning to do my upgrade. And I'll have to
And
get a
for everyone that's
large
so mad, remember when you had the whatever
fucking
92 pin connector that you had with the original iPhones and iPads and
yeah,
iPods?
yeah, yeah. The dock connector
Yeah.
is what it's called.
Yeah.
Show some respect. Jeez. And now the infamous Apple Lightning cable is dead
Go get it.
as of September 2023.
Go.
He or she did not do that and wandered right back into your lap. Why is it in the room with you? It's just hitting you.
Because it was pounding at my door.
Oh, that's what you went to go handle?
Yes.
Okay. Fucking cats. Oh, now he's in front of the microphone. Now he's tailing over that way. Now he's running away. A lot of cat action happening.
Yes.
Anyway, USB-C. They also glossed over the fact that AirPods and AirPods Pro and the wireless versions and EarPods and all of them have USB-C now
Right.
as well. Everything's fucking USB-C.
And again, it was just easier to do that than make a UK SKU.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
it'd be different if
Mhm.
USB-C wasn't, a universally recognized standard already that they should have been got on board with 2 years ago.
I mean, they did. It was in all of their Macs.
Right.
We've had USB-C on Macs for
Yeah.
fucking years.
So,
Years and years. Hell,
yeah.
we didn't even have mags. My wife's computer doesn't have MagSafe, which was invented for their laptops for power, and it's only powered by USB-C.
Mhm.
But then updates with the watches, the Watch Series 9 and the Watch Ultra 2.
So tell me,
Finally,
as someone that's a dummy with the Apple Watches, what is
Mhm.
the upgrade with the 9?
So the big upgrade is we finally have a new chip. It's been about 4
Okay.
years since the last Apple Watch chip, which is a really long time because they were updating it pretty yearly, and then they hit the
Yeah, but again, it seems like an Apple TV issue. If you're not doing anything compelling with it, what's wrong with the existing processor? Like, why did you need to update it other than to say we put a 2 on the box?
better battery life. These ones finally have um Apple's, or at least a version of it, since I don't know what all it's capable of, since it's obviously watch sized.
Okay.
A version of the neural engine. So now all dictation stuff is processed locally rather than using the cloud, which is fantastic.
And the previous processor didn't do that or didn't do it as well?
No, it did not do that.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
like speech. Let me connect to
Yeah.
the internet for that.
This is why I
And you're
ask
like,
the tough
ugh.
questions as an Apple dummy. Like, why
Yeah.
is this so important that they upgraded the processor? Because
We finally got quick charging,
Yeah.
which I cannot believe we haven't had until now. Not that they
Right.
charge fast. It takes 3 hours to charge a watch from dead to full.
Mhm.
That's not bad.
Right. And you're
But
usually charging it while you sleep anyways.
no,
When you do need to charge it, you charge it when you're awake?
yes and no.
Okay.
So I'm the weirdo
No, I know a lot of people
because
use it for sleep tracking. Yes,
yeah. But I have my old one, and I put my new one on when I go to bed,
for sleep tracking.
and then wear it till the evening or whenever. And then I swap
Okay.
to my old one for about 6 hours.
Well, the new one is
Or
charging.
Mhm.
Okay. That's a nice
Obviously,
luxury to have, but yeah.
it is, yes, but I also, buy an Apple Watch every 4 years.
Sure.
Ever. And before this old ass one, I was using the fucking original one, which I gave to my mother. Um, yeah. Obviously, the other thing is, you get better battery life because
Mhm.
smaller nanometer, blah blah blah. That's kind of important. They kind of glossed over that one specifically, and then they probably just so that nobody fucking sues them, they're like, yeah, still the same 18-hour all day battery.
Right.
And
Even
I'm
though
like,
it's much, much more.
and I'm like, yeah, come on, it's gonna be way better in the battery life department. You just don't want to
Mhm.
make a claim. I get it.
Right. Because there's going to be that one
Um,
guy that has the screen at full brightness, never turns off, and is like, mine
mhm,
only lasted 17 hours.
mhm,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Um, the only thing I'd say that's a huge bummer about the Watch Series 9 and the Ultra 2 is the exterior chassis still identical.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's also a catch 22.
Well, didn't they
Like,
didn't they throw the jog like they didn't they update like the jog wheel to make it a little more user friendly? And then of course the action button
the action button's only on the Ultra.
still okay.
Yes. Well, not necessarily still, because on the iPhone 15 Pro, they got rid of the sleep wake mute button that has been there forever. And it is now a configurable action button. We'd heard rumors this was happening for well over 2 years now. It has finally happened. What didn't happen though is there's still buttons. Because there's been patents that they're gonna go away with like physical buttons for a while now, and move to like a full solid state button,
Right.
which wouldn't surprise me in the fucking slightest. I'm actually a little shocked that it hasn't fully happened yet.
I'm glad it hasn't fully happened yet. As someone that has both touch sensor buttons and physical buttons,
Mhm.
it is so easy to accidentally touch a touch sensitive button as it is to accidentally press a button.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Apple does with
Yeah.
it. They have some pretty cool stuff. I always kind of thought that like the quote unquote touch buttons in, because I have like a Gen 1 AirPod Pros. I
Hmm.
always thought that the button air quotes on those, like I would hit a lot, because like I thought, oh man, have a fucking small ass button on the stem. I am totally gonna fucking nick this goddamn button all the fucking time. And I never have.
Right.
So what do I know? Um, but yeah, no, I think it's just a catch 22. The watch, this watch looks identical to my Series 8, apart from the speaker grill is different.
Hmm.
And I can see that there's more sensors on the bottom. The Watch Series 9 looks real fucking close to my Watch Series 8. And the Apple
Yeah.
Watch Ultra 2 looks identical to the Ultra 1.
And
And I think that's a catch 22, because on the one hand, I
if it
I
ain't broke, don't
genuinely love
fix it. Yeah.
I do genuinely love this design. I have no problems with it at all as a design.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, I think that's a thing, because you do wear it. It is a if it ain't broke, don't fix it thing. Because I've seen all kinds of crazy things like, ooh, they're finally gonna go round like a Samsung or a Pixel.
Right.
And I'm I don't know, like, do I want
There's
a
just
round
always been this
text watch?
thing of phones and wearables as a fashion statement and status symbol, right?
Yeah,
Right. And for a long time, if you popped an iPhone on the table, it was a sign of status,
sure.
right?
I meant
And
you're
then
not
the
a
Apple
broke ass
Watch,
Android user.
right? Exactly. And then so the Apple Watch became the same thing. But now, if you can't distinguish between anything other than the Ultra, it kind of loses that appeal.
I mean, that's not really what I'm getting at. I'm just
No, I know.
saying.
I'm just saying, just by keeping the
I'm just
design the
saying.
same.
So Marquise Brownlee, uh, ultra famous tech YouTuber. I say ultra famous because he was literally quoted at the start of the Apple event, which was so weird to see a YouTuber quoted by CEO Tim Cook is wild. He even said it was wild because he didn't know it was happening.
Hmm.
Because he's like, huh, thanks for the free PR, Apple. And but no, he made a thing 2 months ago. And it was really intelligent. He wrote a checklist for what type of phone you should get as a person.
Right.
And instead of like 10 versus 10, these phones versus this, he listed it by like different things like design, functionality, what do you as a user care about doing with your device. And I thought it was just a really intelligent way to go about it. Um, which is also just another reason why Marquise Brownlee is better than most other tech YouTubers. Dude is dude is thoughtful and insightful and well spoken. Um, but something that really struck me in that video that I'm bringing up here in reference to, yeah, iPhones look real fucking similar to each one over the last. We haven't had a huge design update in like 5 years,
Hmm.
really. And Marcus Brownlee put it as, do you desire crazy cool new stuff or do you desire ultra functionality?
Right.
Right. And he kind of placed like the Apple products in that particular realm because they are very similar when they make updates and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I think for me, I am I am a function over
Sure.
form
Yeah. And again, it's
kind of
like I
guy.
said, if it's an ain't if it ain't broke, imagine if you got in your next car tomorrow and it had a joystick instead of a steering wheel, right?
Oh, fuck off.
Right. It might be superior, but you
Hmm.
go with what you
Hmm.
know.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, we'll see. Um
So yeah, the watch actually has some compelling reasons to upgrade this time, as opposed to
Yeah, and a big one is both all the phones have it this year as well, but the watches do too. They have a new U2 chip, which is their custom ultra wideband chip, which was originally launched. Like they have not updated it in a long time. It was
they
originally
really
launched
did
in
they
the
really call it a U2 chip?
they did, which I thought was a little funny, given that they've had U2 actually on their stage and they've had a U2 iPod.
And they forced it into
Whatever.
your yeah.
Oh yeah, that one album that they
Hmm.
forced everybody in the world to get. That was the weirdest fucking thing on the planet because the album wasn't good. Um, sorry folks, not a U2 fan. Get bent.
Yeah,
Um,
I am, but I didn't like that at all. But yeah, but now it's in your
yeah.
iPhones and your watches.
But anyway, ultra wideband, the second generation, or U2 as they are indeed calling it.
Hmm.
This is a big deal because it hasn't been updated since the Apple Watch 1, which was 2015. And this is their proprietary ultra wideband spectrum that allowed the watch to communicate with your phone
Hmm.
for like 300 fucking meters away and shit. It was fucking ridiculous. And had all this stuff that it can do. It's what's used in the like the air tags
Hmm.
for their finding thing because of how it picks up signals and stuff. And so that now they have a second generation one, and now it's something fucking stupid like 1,200 meters or something fucking crazy
Right,
like that.
and it will actually point you with a compass direction to find your devices.
Or your friends,
Hmm.
which personally, as someone who has a vast majority of his friends in the Find My app and stuff, and frequently uses it when he is out with his wife in big crowded
Hmm.
stuff because I'm tall and she is short and she gets fucking lost in the crowds. And I'm
Hmm.
like, it's like, okay, her
As
friend's
as
not
someone that
here.
has small children, like
Hmm.
I might be putting that on my work phone.
Yeah. And I was like, shit. Yeah, that's pretty fucking useful.
Yeah.
I like that. And it's like, sure, you could be like, oh, this is even more Big Brother and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you,
But
again,
yeah.
like we've said on the show, yes, but also so far they don't appear to be evil. So, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, but from that perspective, it's like, yeah, I want that to be able to find my wife in a crowd
Hmm.
100%.
I want
Like,
to be
not
able to
even,
find my kids in an amusement park, right?
yeah. Um,
There are niche cases where I find that technology fascinating, and then I want to be able to turn it off every other
sure,
time.
sure, absolutely, absolutely. And at least for now, as far as anybody knows, Apple does let you do that. Another big update, which I thought was really good, and this is to all devices this year, carryover from last year's iPhone 14, which had the ultra fancy GPS SOS and
Yes,
their custom stuff. They have updates to that. That is now in all of the devices.
including
Um,
the sat technology, the sat call.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm. And in
I
addition to
thought I
that,
read that. I didn't know if that was across the board.
yeah, no, it's across the board now this year, which doesn't surprise me at all because if they put it into the base 14 last year, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be in everything. And I agree. Like when we were going over the mountains to my grandma's a couple weeks ago, and I have nothing,
Right.
and her phone's like boop, boop. Pretty cool,
Hmm.
should I have needed such a thing. Good stuff to know that you have it.
Right. It's a peace of mind. It's
Yeah.
better to have
And
it and not
then
need it than need it and not have it.
a big update to that. That's for all people who have the sat phone capability, including the 14s. They said that they have also been working in deploying this technology in other sectors, and they have announced their first partner is AAA. So now, using the sat phone feature, if you have a flat tire or a broken battery or whatever you need the services of AAA for your vehicle,
Okay.
you can now use that for that. And I'm like, motherfucker, I have AAA.
Right.
I want that.
I'm wondering how much of that was a AAA saying, "Can we put our name on this and we'll pay you," kind of thing.
I think probably it's probably a both parties kind of thing. It's
Right.
probably an Apple. How can we make this more valuable to consumers? And then what would be a thing that we can use this satellite technology for that's
So
not emergency responder?
over under how many months until it's rebranded AA Apple?
AA Apple.
Yes, AAA. Cool.
I'm pretty sure it reads that way on the stock market already, actually. Not mistaken. Um yeah. Uh yeah, so I think those are pretty much the compelling updates. Let me scroll through here. Oh, the watch had a thing where I guess you can physically use your finger
Yes, it
as a button.
catches the your blood pressure or whatever your skin temp.
Something to do with science.
Yes. Well, it's yeah, it's more the nuance of your wrist with the tendons than it is like it's not doing a
Mhm.
camera
Mhm.
because the pinchy pinchy, as everyone's calling it, pinchy pinch, um, it works with both your index and thumb or your middle finger and thumb or ring finger and thumb because not everyone has all their fingers.
That's true.
But you still have to wake it up to use it, which is kind of a weird thing.
I mean, I don't know how exactly that would work because all the new watches, like if you want, you can do the always on thing.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know how that works
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a matter of you got to wake it up to get those sensors to detect it. But again, it's better than like crap. My hand's busy. Use my nose to reject a call, and we've all done it at some point in time.
Sure. Um,
What you looking at?
anything I missed? 48 megapixel main camera.
Yeah,
Oh,
cameras got better.
they finally have fucking a thing that I've been envious of in Android phones for years, which is the being able to change the focus after a shot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's finally an iPhone. Um,
which I've never used ever.
I've never used it because I don't have it, but I feel like maybe
Have you ever longed for it? Have you ever looked at a picture and went, "Man, I wish I had that technology"? No,
yes,
no,
I
no, you
have.
haven't.
As someone who was just at a family reunion, yes. Yes, I do. So fuck you. Um
Because if I take a picture and it's out of focus, I take another picture.
I say. Oh, surprising nobody on the Pro series because obviously Apple's got to start getting them somehow.
Hmm.
You can shoot what Apple's calling spatial video, which is just 3D video
Right.
for use in the forthcoming Apple Vision Pro, which I totally get because you have multiple cameras and you can do that, and that's how that works. But at the same time, like you have to have a thing to see the 3D or spatial video. So just shooting it seems to me odd if you can't see it. But whatever. Oh. Pros support Thread.
Hmm.
That's dope. For all smart home people. And anything else? Section. Yep, that's it. Long dramatic pause, I guess. Holy shit, we're actually spinning correctly this time. Life stories, fire.
Fire.
Oh man.
Are we gonna get into the nitty gritty brass tacks?
Not the thing that I
Okay.
talked to you
Yep.
about in the middle of the week. We're not
Cool.
gonna we're not gonna do that thing. All I will state on that and leave it at that is
That's an offline conversation.
there's a thing that occurred that is large and is affecting everyone, including myself, in the house that I'm in.
Okay.
That is all I will say on
To
that.
to be concluded. Yeah.
To be concluded.
So in my life stories,
Yeah.
as the audience may have heard at some point in time, I have a new cat.
Tell me about this fucking cat I don't care about.
A friend of mine from high school that I barely ever talk to, but we still stay in touch on Facebook. Has been posting over the years, like, can you help me with this? Can someone help me? Like, can I borrow some garage space? Can someone foster my dog? And all this stuff that went like kept coming and going, and I couldn't do any of that. Um, and then her daughter was like, "My cat is in a shelter that has just closed its doors, and I need to find a home for her, which I can do. I can do cats. So I ended up with,
I'll say that it's a very pretty cat,
yes.
but most cats tend to be pretty, even though they are spawns of Satan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and she has her spawns of Satan
I was gonna say she looks quite loverly to you right now,
moment.
whereas before she was just all about fucking you up.
Yep. Yeah. Ow. Don't make biscuits on my face. So yeah, there's that, and then there's the night shift shit that isn't going the way we had planned.
So you still don't have your
Apparently, it's now
orders.
October 2nd.
I feel like every fucking time I talk to you, it changes, and it has to
I
be at
feel
this
like every
point.
time every time they talk to
Jesus.
me, it changes. So, for reasons I won't go into on the cast, because it starts delving into um, business stuff that should not be disclosed over public airways.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, especially with the nature of, I think I told you about it offline ish. But
Hmm,
yeah,
you did.
there have been some difficulties with the
You
business.
should, I would say, as a real note,
Hmm.
tell me that I'm not supposed to talk about those things.
Oh, I'm
Tell me
not worried about
things
you
like that.
talking about them to other people, but yeah, like when we go out to an audience, there's at this point,
Okay.
if anyone that really wants to do the research about my job has probably figured out where I work already.
Hold on. When we go out to an audience, don't we have an audience, Nate?
Yes, it's an audience of at least me, and I figured out where I work.
Oof. Okay.
It's me and
And
Sean. We
only
download we download the
at least
podcast.
you and Sean. Okay, sure. There
But
you go.
yeah, so yeah, not getting into minutia. Big kerfuffle that has
Yeah.
caused things to be delayed and quarantined, and yeah, we were going to be delayed to the second, then we got pushed back up to when it was supposed to be. Now we're pushed back to the second, and who
Hmm.
knows? Word on the street is uh, things are starting to move. So
Okay.
uh, October 2nd should still hold as a date. I'll probably find out, September 30th if it gets pushed back again. Yeah,
Okay.
that's nature of the beast.
Sure. Fair enough. Well, as what I was going to talk about last weekend, that was fresher in my mind. Um, I had a little 4-day over at my grandma's on the other side of the mountains for her 92nd birthday. I did indeed get to record about 2.5 hours with her, which was honestly a lovely conversation to have with her. She was delightful. We did it outside on a Sunday morning with the birds chirping and coffee. And actually, no, Monday morning. No, Sunday morning. Monday? I don't know.
Monday, Sunday.
That weekend was something. Um, yeah. So made the trek over in wife's car. Turns out Nissan Sentras don't do great in the mountains.
No, that little 1.2 liter four banger. No,
Yeah, holy shit. When we got to those hills, I was like, holy fuck, I feel like I'm driving my Datsun. Like, god damn.
Datsun. Wow.
What? I own a Datsun. I do. Have we not talked about this? I'm
No, that's
sure I
fine.
mentioned
It's just like calling it a Toyota.
a Toyota. I
Yeah.
haven't actually heard that one before, but fine. Yeah, no, we made the hike over the mountains. The trip over there was actually pretty lovely. A little bit irritated in the morning because we left straight after she got home from work
Mm-hmm.
that morning, and so she was a little snippy, which was fine because it's the end of her work week. And I was a little snippy because I decided that I'd only sleep for 4 hours.
Okay.
But it was pretty. It was fine. After we made our first pit stop for lunch, she finally conked out for the last 4 or 5 hours of the trek, and I just listened to podcasts and stuff, which was fine until Apple Podcasts fucked me. So I knew at a certain point I was going to have absolutely no cell signal.
Right.
You know, I realized I haven't been out there in a couple years, but I also knew there's no fucking way that they will have just magically gotten cell signal into this fucking town where my grandma lives. There's just no way because it's just it's fucking out of the way. And I was right. And when I finally reached that, my podcast apps claims I was listening to a podcast that I fucking downloaded beforehand. Had the little download icon, and I'm traveling along and I'm seeing, 5G bloop, 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 bloop,
And you're like,
4G
whatever.
bloop,
It's
bloop,
downloaded.
bloop,
Yeah.
bloop, fucking 3G bloop, 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 and the blooping,
2G.
so
Yeah.
that we're clear because I'm mimicking this with my hand, is the bars going lower.
Yes.
And then finally SOS.
Right.
And then finally no service. And I'm like, that's to be expected. And I'm going, and about 20 minutes into this, then my podcast stops. And I go, excuse you. You are downloaded. You have the downloaded little icon. I can see the little thingy that says you're downloaded because you're in the downloaded list and not the live list in the fucking app. Have you fucking lied to me? And so then I had fucking nothing. And I was like, what the fuck?
Man.
It's like, how dare you, Apple Podcast app? It's finally, at least since last year, in a pretty good spot. Like, how dare you? And what made it worse, though, was it didn't have it, but when I got out of the thing and tried to like I tried to play some like other podcasts, and they weren't showing up or whatever. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, okay, fine, whatever. And then when I finally got back into cell range and I tried to play those decided that they were played and that they would delete themselves. So I'm just like, yo, you had one job.
So this is
Fuck
why
you.
I've kind of stuck by the one podcast app that I have because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
janky as fuck, but it works.
yeah. I mean, I haven't had problems with the podcast app until no service, so I don't know. But yeah, no, we got there a little later than we wanted to. My parents actually beat us there, which I was surprised by because I talked to them the night before. And I guess they now live about the same distance away from grandma, the opposite direction as I do now. So we're literally meeting in the middle, so to speak. Um, they beat us there, but then what was unexpected was Uncle did not beat us there. and I'd previously set up that me and Jessica were gonna camp out with him in his new 27-foot long toy trailer with all the bells and
Right, right.
whistles. And he said, and he lives like an hour or two away from her, that he was going to be there at like 10 a.m. And so we roll up there and he's clearly not there.
Right.
And
There's
I
a
was like,
big
huh.
27-foot void where a trailer should be.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then like I basically say hi to mom and dad and grandma, go to the bathroom, come out, and then he rolls in and it's like 5:30 or something at night. And he rolls in and we set up the camper and stuff and it took a significant amount of man work to get the thing set up and level and get jacked
Oh,
into
we did.
power and
Gotcha.
water and
He
all
didn't
the
have all
stuffs.
the auto level bullshit.
Oh no, he did. But we still used some manual levels
Okay.
and whatnot. And yeah, I guess he had said that fucking like he had some transmission problems in the morning and then the fucking hitch fell off apparently. So he re-welded that bitch back on. And he's very capable in the automotive department. He
Sure,
used to
but
run Department of Transportation for Okanagan County. So
if
he's
my if my
very
trailer hitch
used.
falls off the day before I'm supposed to leave somewhere, that tends to be a trip canceller.
Mm. Yeah, no, I understand.
Like I can weld. There are
Sure.
things that I won't do, and then hitch a living vessel behind me for a 2-hour drive.
Whatever, you
Well,
know.
good on him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got it up and it was pretty fucking crazy. Like it was a very nice trailer. It was very it was a 2022 model, so it had all the fucking shit.
So, what was the
Like,
toy that was in the toy hauler?
oh, he had a Yamaha
Okay, so
side by side
yeah, yeah,
something
little
something.
quad, yeah, little quad dune buggy type.
Yeah, you sit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that in there. Um
But I think the last time
so
we talked, we were thinking like he is a aficionado of classic cars. So who knows what could be in this toy hauler?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
So
he likes his
and it
automotive
yeah
toys,
turned out
that's
to
for
be
sure.
a glorified off road golf cart.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Womp
yeah,
womp.
no, it was super nice. It weirdly looked like IKEA on the inside. Everything was like modern
Yeah.
ass looking, like had like black wood and shit everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
like under the counter, like fucking mood lighting and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and like fucking TV and Bluetooth and speakers everywhere. And then the back deck turned into a fucking patio, and fucking the bed we were on like fucking descended from the roof, and like it's
Mm-hmm.
fucking wild.
Yeah,
Um,
they've made huge advancements in
oh,
maximizing space.
yeah, and in my head I'm thinking with like RVs from like was it Sunrunner and like Arrowhead and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that
Where you had the mom's
from the
cabin
'90s.
over the front of the Dodge van front end.
Well,
Yeah.
we never had one of those. We had ones that was like the full like bus type.
Oh, okay.
But I do know what you're talking about for sure. Um yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was honestly pretty reasonably nice. The only thing that like sucked about it was
Couldn't poop.
our bed was so fucking high up in the air that we had to use this like ladder to get up to it. And it was maybe like the one piece of the camper that wasn't made nice. So if you have to get up and pee in the middle of the night,
You're
which
like, roll a d20.
every fucking step.
Yeah.
Because the ladder is just like
Just
a folded L bracket of fucking metal that was
mhm.
found in a fucking pile somewhere. And it's like, ow, my arch, ow, the metal is stabbing me,
Right. It
and then
is it
and
is
it's like
legit
dark.
the epitome of function over form. It was like, it'll get you up
Yes.
there. You will hate your
Oh
life for it.
yes. Oh yeah.
So,
I was actually surprised because I had brought a blow up mattress because he had said he was like, I haven't fucking slept on it. Like, mattress might be shit. Bring your own. But I was surprised. The mattress was like 2 inches thick, but it was comfortable enough to sleep on for 3 days.
hmm,
So, so it
my
goes.
back hurts thinking about that.
As someone who has back problems, I was a little creaky in the morning, but it wasn't, was way better than I expected.
Okay.
Um, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so we did that, and then the next day, we did breakfast, and then we went into town because Uncle had gotten there late, and his original plan was to like go out. He was going to go out to hit Costco up and get all the stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't get any of that because I spent all day getting here." He's like, "We're gonna wing it." I was like, "Okay."
He didn't have any of that roasted garlic Alfredo, right?
Roasted garlic Alfredo.
Yes. The Target brand.
Yeah, the Target stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, ain't no Targets out where we were. Ain't no Targets over there. That's for fucking sure. But yeah, no, none of that shit. The irony, actually, of you bringing that up is I did have chicken Alfredo and broccoli tonight for dinner.
Good.
The
It
difference is
just wasn't the good
it
earth
came
or
from a
whatever it
fucking
was.
bag.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so we rolled into town at the local market, which I've known forever. But then we go inside the market, and I barely recognize the market, and B, I service and work a lot of fringe grocery stores
hmm
for my day job. And I've seen nice ones and I've seen all of the shitty ones. I walked into this place, knowing full well what to expect. And it's still owned by the same people. And I walked in and I was like, this place has 4 new automatic sliding doors. And I walked in and I was like, this place has everything and is so clean and well stocked and the staff is friendly. And I'm like, what the fuck
What
is
what
going
in
on?
the Trader Joe's happened here? Yeah.
Oh no, it was way better than any Trader Joe's. For sure. Like, yeah, fuck Trader Joe's in comparison. And what was hilarious was because we had stopped the day before to make sure that I had like gluten-free hamburger buns and stuff because I knew for sure I wasn't going to find fuck all out there. And I'm walking by and I'm looking at their gluten-free section and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, honey, look at these prices. These prices are like $3 to $5 cheaper than the shit we just bought yesterday. What in the ass fuck is going on here?" Fuck. But yeah, no. The store there, I'm not gonna say the town. Um, just wildly, they're obviously thriving. And I asked, grandma, and fucking we ran into some local who used to know my grandpa or something when he was alive and stuff and trading stories because that's what happens in small towns.
hmm
And they're just like, well, it's the only grocery store for like a fucking 100 miles.
Right.
I'm like, fair enough.
That's your
Fair
local Piggly
enough.
Wiggly.
Yeah. No. It was good. It was really good because I've been to that grocery store hundreds of times. So yeah, so we went there, we picked up burgers, we ended up going for ground beef, some local chuck, and picked up some um, steelhead salmon,
hmm Okay.
and
It's good shit.
yeah, we got a bunch of stuff, loaded it up. Um, my wife and my uncle and my folks came with us, and we kind of split up, gathering different things, putting them in the cart. Come back, and like my dad is just like fucking bleeding all over the fucking floor. And I'm like, Dad, you're you have sprung a leak.
You
He
know,
looks down and his fucking arm is just fucking spewing fucking blood everywhere. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? And like it looked like there's just like, you know, imagine my dad and like an old man and pushing a cart and there's just this blood trail going down an aisle.
jeez.
And I'm like, what the fuck happened? He's like, I don't know. Something poked me. I was like, what the fuck? There was blood
Must
everywhere.
must have got cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Except
mean, I've
no.
had those. I've just never walked through a entire grocery store like that.
Yeah, no, it was literally I can't take you anywhere moment.
Sure. And you'll understand as you get older, your skin gets thinner. You
Oh
bleed a
no, I
lot
know.
more. Yeah.
And I know that's why he was bleeding and stuff,
Hmm.
but it's just like, ah, fuck. That's gonna suck when I get there, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're white, which makes it even worse.
okay. So then we get people and like clean it up and stuff, and we check out and we get back to grandma's, and at this point, like everybody and their fucking dog is showing up. And
How many dogs were there?
I think there was about 6 dogs.
Okay.
Um and then I'm like barely inside grandma's house. We're putting stuff around and in coolers and chests and stuff, and broke out the grills and stuff. Which super interestingly, the grill that my uncle had was the exact little Weber grill that we used to use here at this house before I got my
Hmm.
big grill. So I was like, oh, I am very familiar with this fella. Nice. Little small for like
That
a
many
fucking
people.
100,
Yeah.
like a lot of people, but okay.
It'll
We're
get the
gonna do
job
this in
done.
waves,
You've
I
got to, yeah,
guess.
you've got to turn it around.
Yeah. And then my dad is like swearing up a storm, and I fucking come over and it's like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I dropped my fucking my truck's keys somewhere. I was like, you've looked everywhere? Did you drop it back at the store when you got stabbed and were cleaning up the blood everywhere? He's like, I think I did hook it onto the fucking cart. And I'm just like rolling my eyes. And at this point, his truck is like blocked in by like 8 other things, but my wife's car is free. And I was like,
Well, how did he get home
it's,
without the keys?
oh no, he rode with me
Oh, okay.
and Jessica. My mom and dad rode with us,
Okay.
and then uncle went with the truck.
Gotcha.
Um,
He
truck and
didn't
a bunch
leave
of
with the
coolers.
truck and then yeah.
Yeah. Different truck, different person.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
um, and so I'm like, fucking get your shit. And I'm like mad at my dad, and we all know from this show, our relationship with my father is whatever, so we just make small talk, and I fucking
I'm sure at some point on the road trip was, "So how's the business doing?"
no, we did talk about business, just
Yeah.
not at that point. Or not that day, I guess. And that was fine. But no, we just rode over to the market in Grandma's town, listening to what the fuck were we listening to? I had hang on. And fucking
Oh, you have the playlist?
yeah, it's in the wrong order right now. Why can't I think of this? The band that does Taking Care of Business. PTO.
Yeah, Bachman Turner Overdrive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And so we're just fucking silently driving. I can see the blood pooling on the fucking bandage on his fucking arm back
Taking
to the
care of
park.
business.
Yeah, I was like, for fuck's sake. Yes, literally taking care of
Yeah.
business.
And I'm working overtime, workout.
Overtime,
Yeah.
workout. Yeah, I know. I know. I actually genuinely love that song.
So do I.
Um, lyrics hit harder when you own a business.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, I can imagine. Yeah.
Um, anyway, we roll back up to the thing, and like 2 seconds, they recognize that it's us, and they have our keys. And I'm just like, this fucking grocery store is the best fucking grocery store
Right.
experience I have ever had with a grocery store in the last decade. What the
Like
fuck?
they had a guy standing out front waiting for you to pull back up and wondered, like, he's here, he's
No,
here.
not like that, but like
Yeah.
as soon as we passed through the sliding doors, it was
They're like, you,
like,
yes,
oh,
yes,
keys?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I was like, dang. Dang.
Yeah.
You know? Go back, make more small talk, fucking talking. We're trying to get things ready. At this point, somebody
Oh.
else has handled um putting away the groceries because I wasn't fucking there. And this will be important for later in the story. Remember this, kids. And so we're getting ready to kind of get ready to do food. We have a bunch of really loud card games, and one uncle is like 4 bottles of wine deep, and we haven't had dinner yet, and people are loud, and there's lots of things happening. And then I'm getting fucking hungry, so I'm like, should we start making all the food that we bought? You know, because we got burgers and salmon and shit. And then my other uncle Brad is just like well, all the food will be here at 4. And I'm like, what food? We just went out this morning to get the food because we were doing the food. And he's like, well, I bought a spread. And I'm like, thanks for telling us,
Right.
uncle. You know, which in hindsight was an awesome call because A, we didn't have to cook and there's a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no leftovers because we had a ton of food and a ton of people and like 0 leftovers.
Right. And you didn't have to have someone that was literally just turning and burning on the grill.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and I mean, it would have been nice to have known, but it was still awesome that he provided that. And then on top of that, like they had like this homemade potato salad and ribs, and they were fucking fire. They were so fucking good. And I'm a rib guy, and I've
Yep.
had some really good fucking ribs in my life, and like this was like top 5. I was like, holy
Okay.
fuck, this is fucking, I don't know where the fuck this food came from in this small ass town, but they know how to fucking do some
They know
fucking
how to
pig.
rib
I
it
tell
up.
you what.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was fucking delicious. It was awesome. And then at that point, it was kind of hitting twilight, and a lot of people were drunk, and they're like, Tim, have you fucking set up the croquet yet? I was like, what fucking croquet?
Oh, right.
And so,
We talked about this one offline. I'm like, croquet
yes,
is
we
not
did.
that long
Yes,
of a
we
sport.
did.
Yes.
Okay, well, tell you what, that's not how we do it
Tell you
with my
what.
mom's side of the family. Yeah, I tell you what.
HWAT what?
So I run out. I'm fucking setting up the croquet set. And mind you, I want to put this into perspective that we have like a shit ton of people. Some people have gone home at this point, so it's kind of getting more to just family instead
Right.
of just like family and friends and other people who are relatives by because they know them kind of association thing at this point.
Mhm.
And grandma's house is, it's a pre-built, home, manufactured house, and she's got kind of like a horseshoe lawn
Not
around.
a trailer, but
Yeah, not a trailer, but um,
yeah.
you know, and like a horseshoe lawn, like it's not big, you know. And so I try to make the best of the course, and I kind of do some zigs and zags and stuff. And I build the croquet set because Uncle hadn't taken it out of the package yet. And I'm fucking hammering shit together and screwing shit together and trying to make stuff. And and then we end up doing teams of two, taking turns, alternating. Um, and this is like sundown, and so there's like my mom and her brother got into it at some point, and one of my uncles like fell over in a chair, and um Jessica was not playing with me that evening. She was having a little there's too many people here and I need to go to a quiet place type
Yeah.
moment.
No, I get that.
It's fine. Um and
Keep on. Keep it on.
And so then, we had a really wild ass fucking croquet game, and like we were fucking doing bank shots off of the fucking siding of grandma's house and bouncing off of fucking rocks and
Right.
trying not to break this one piece
You're
of
having a
pipe.
Michael Jordan, Larry Bird
Yeah,
off
it
the
was
garden
it.
gnome through the uprights,
Yeah,
nothing but net.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It made all the more difficult by the fact that the grass was,
Wet.
I don't know, 3 fucking feet tall.
Oh God. Okay. So you're saying the greens were
and the
slow. Yeah.
and the dirt was like just
Undulating.
lumperific.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't predict where your fucking ball was going. And I was actually really surprised. My 92-year grandmother was out here keeping up with fucking croquet, right? Swinging that fucking shit, you know. Um but it was good. There was a lot of yelling. There was so much yelling. Um People at one point were so far behind the other people, they started making like their own wickets with wine glasses and trying to hit through them. And thank God they didn't break that shit. Um, yeah, it was a good time.
Those are the best
Um,
kind of family outings. I'm saying.
next day was quieter because I got to get to the real point of the story. The next day was quieter. We did a bunch of stuff. I actually did a tiny bit of work because I needed to work some that weekend, which sucked. Um, and then so we had just family. We had about 13 people total, and we decide, well, let's do the cooking that we were going to do the previous day for grandma's party. Since the grill is set up and things have been bought, let's do that. Christ almighty. um so we knew things started going wrong when we've looked in grandma's fridge, we've looked in all the coolers, we've looked in my uncle Spencer's trailer fridge, and nobody can find the raw beef that we bought the previous day. And we're like, what? We bought like fucking 10 pounds of chuck. Like, where is it?
There's a cow missing.
And so we were moving around some stuff, and in grandma's living room there's kind of a pile of people's various things, bags, coolers, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a bag from the local grocery store, and in the top of that bag was chips, right? Nobody would think, but that beef was under those chips and has been sitting in grandma's living room since the prior day in double 90-degree heat weather for more than 24 hours at this point. And I'm just like, well, this meat is fucked. We have to throw it out.
No, I mean, not really.
But
you
no.
could have cooked it through. Yeah.
Oh no, I did, Nate. because everybody else's response was, "Nah, fuck it, just wash it off and make sure they're just well done."
Just wash it off. Ooh. Okay.
We did. We
Yeah.
washed it off, and we make the patties. At this point, Uncle Spencer's had one too many for
Yeah.
sure,
Nothing
and
stank
I'm
though,
like,
right?
I mean, I am not the person to ask. I have a very low ability to smell stuff.
Nobody came in and said that meat's bad. And let me tell you, you know
I
when
asked
meat's
several
bad.
people, including my wife. My wife looked at it and was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
But that's what we
Look
cooked.
look and smell are two different things.
And so then we had an additional step where we had the salmon that I had purchased,
Hmm.
and my uncle Brad, who had brought the feast the previous day before, he brought over these smoking boards to use for the salmon.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And so we used cedar and alder. We used two boards because the salmon fillet
Hmm.
was fucking huge, and the boards were only like 12 by fours or whatever.
I prefer the alder
Um,
personally, but
yeah, well, I mean, we needed two boards, so we did. That's why we did those two. The size of the fish.
mhm.
And so what became everybody else was going to be the cooking came Tim wrangling drunk uncles to help make the patties because
Mhm.
they're suddenly not cooking it, to me figuring out how to smoke a salmon on the grill, which I've never done before, to me trying to figure out one thing. I'm like wetting the wood. I'm trying to get the grill ready, looking to my left, and I see my uncle with like a giant ass fucking Tillamook brick of cheese that looks like it's got fucking super alien Kaibo scum mold on it. And I'm going, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh, it's the cheese.
It's the
And I was like,
cheese.
no, it's not.
Oh my gosh.
And then they're like, it's mold anyway. Just cut the dead shit off.
Oh
So
my god.
they're cutting the mold off. And I'm like, oh no. I'm trying to get the fucking salmon ready. I get that on the grill first because I'm thinking fish cooks faster than beef. Let's do the salmon first. And that fucking fish took like an hour. And I'm going, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I've got water, I've got the thing here. The planks caught on fire a couple of times.
Because you're smoking
Like
it
we
and not cooking it. It's a different,
right.
yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
yes, but there's another thing that I forgot and I didn't know until I took the salmon off. Thankfully, grandma had a meat thermometer, so we followed some
Nobody
rules
died. Yes.
before I took it
Yeah.
off. And when I was pulling the salmon off, I realized in my mistake between death beef and moldy cheese and drunken uncles that this dumbass forgot to peel the little puffy black cloth past thing that sits on the bottom of like the saran wrap. You know what I'm talking about? They have
Hmm.
it in the beef packs too.
Hmm.
I forgot to pull that fucking thing off the fish. And I'm like, oh, no fucking wonder the fucking center took so goddamn long to cook because it has this cold ass fucking wet piece of shit carcinogens up the ass, probably. Um,
Cans of
and
salmon's up.
pulled the salmon off, and I'm like, oh god, I hope it's cooked, but I don't know, you know. And for the record, we did a huge slab of butter, lemon salt, and we didn't have like dill, but like grandma had like dill, like whole dill somethings.
Hmm.
We threw that shit on. And then of course pepper. Um, and so then we're doing the burgers, and I'm like fucking trying to cook the burgers. And then one of my uncles is just like, I want the burger black. And I'm like, I got it. Super well done. He's like, nuh-uh. I want it black. And I'm like more than Burger King? Like, what do you want? Like,
Right.
I don't understand. He's like, I want it black. He's like, I'll let you know. I was like, okay. And so I have the maximum amount of burgers on this tiny ass grill, which it turns out is kind of 10.
Yeah.
I say kind of 10 because the drunken uncles who were putting the fucking burgers together, like, because it's ground beef, right?
Mhm.
And so some of the burgers lost some of themselves and
Right.
had to be merged with other burgers in the middle of this fucking fire shit show.
I've been here.
So I'm stressed. Like, at least I was familiar with the hot and cold zones in this kind of grill, literally, since it
Mhm.
was the same kind that I had done prior
Mhm.
to my big grill. Because man, it was there was a lot happening, you know. Like, I'd be like trying to flip one of the burgers, and then a fucking Pepsi can would explode because some of the drunk uncles were like, "Whoops! It's whipped out of my hand," you know. It's just fucking madness happening, and I'm just trying not to kill anybody with the fucking shit show of food we put together. And then so finally we fucking sat down, we had dinner. Burgers were edible. They were edible. I think the
Did
cheese was okay.
did you
At
get
least
it
the
black?
pieces.
Did you get it black enough?
That one, yeah, it was black. Came off as a fucking brick. And he's like, "Yep." I'm like, "What the okay, well, whatever." And then the salmon, I finally got around to trying the salmon, and turns out that salmon was the best motherfucking thing I did, because that salmon was fucking perfect. It was crispy, caramelized. Fucking the smoke flavor was delicious. You couldn't even taste the fucking burnt carcinogen thing from the bottom. Like, it was so fucking good, Nate. I tell you, like, I would do that again in a heartbeat. In fact, I took pictures of the planks because I'm gonna order some
Mm.
and try it again here at home. Like it was perfect. Like everybody had burgers and stuff, and everybody had kind of forgotten about the fish, and so had I. And I got back to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is really good." And then somebody else tried it, and was like, "Oh my god, this fish is amazing!" And then soon everybody was like crowding around the fish, and we just gobbled it up like a bunch of fucking vultures. And then they're like, "Oh, you did
Finally,
a really good
something
job on that
edible.
fish."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Who knew?"
I knew. Yeah.
you know. And then to cut the story short, things occurred. Did the recording thing with grandma the next day. Tried to leave, but the wife's tires were flat. Um,
So
yeah, the new tires that
are
I
we gonna
I
do
just paid.
grandma's recordings as a outtake kind of standalone?
Maybe at some point,
Okay.
heavily edited, probably
Okay.
for family reasons.
Obviously.
Um, yes, but no, I have it. I have copies of it. Um, it's a surprisingly good recording. I recorded on the old podcast mic. That's the one that didn't need fucking drivers. Um,
Yeah, because I think I told
uh,
you I have my my great grandfather's memoirs in written form.
if you did, it might have been off air because
Yeah.
it sounds like something you
Yeah, it would
said,
have been off
but it's
air.
fuzzy. Yeah. Okay.
So I would love to compare
But yeah,
notes of the generational stuff.
yeah. No, we'll see on that one. There's absolutely no timeline. If Fork gets it, Fork gets it. If not, not. But it is recorded. Um, yeah. And needless to say, we made it home.
Cool. Yeah, I think the
So,
only other life story
yeah.
that I have is, and I think I shared the pictures in the Discord, so get in the Discord if you want to see my misery, where my blower motor on my air conditioning decided to absolutely fucking explode.
Oh yeah. Why? Why, Nate?
I
Why?
don't know, but just because it's old, you know, the unit's from the 1980s, and it's been slowly going through piece by piece repair,
Mm,
and that
mm,
was the one thing. Like, and I kind of saw
mm.
it coming because I turn on the AC, and you would hear the compressor kick on, and there's always been a couple second delay before the blower kicks on.
Mhm.
And over the course of last weekend, you could kind of hear the whole thing shudder, like it would go, and then air would blow. And I'm
Mm.
like, that's not good. So when I woke up on Monday morning, I heard the compressor going, didn't hear a fan going, no
Mm.
air was blowing. And then, yeah, if you go on the Discord, you can see the pictures of the squirrel cage that absolutely separated from the hub.
Yeah, I see it there.
Yeah.
Mm.
So to get same day service on something like that, which thankfully I have friends in low places or high places, as it were, um,
Sure.
they were able to come out same day, pick up the part. Part was about $300, right? It's a machined part, balanced,
I understand.
right? And then the labor itself was, $250. So
So was the picture of your fancy little Nest thermostat, was that after it's installed, I'm
yes,
assuming?
yeah,
Yeah. I was gonna say California 72 is indoor temperature with AC, not outdoor.
yeah. But if you notice, without AC the entire day, my house only got up to 77.
Hmm, surprising.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I purchased the house. Like we walked into this when they were doing the showing. We
Mhm.
walked in and it was nice and cool, and then I realized there was no power. I'm like, how long's the power been out? And he goes, no, we haven't turned it back on until we're ready to sell it. I'm like, it's comfortable in here.
Mm.
So yeah, they did all the right upgrades, double pane windows. We have shade trees and everything. So yeah, even on a 100-degree day, thankfully the
Yeah,
inside of the
that's
house only
good.
got to 77.
Wow. It is, well, it's better than this place I'm in. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
well,
Well, you pointed out we are well over time.
well, I just sent it as a FYI. We're at 3 hours 30
Well,
minutes,
I know you
and
want
we
to
still have
sleep
the
too.
entertainment section.
I mean, did I post anything in there? I don't even fucking know.
No, I think the only thing we could talk about would be Ahsoka at this point.
Sure, we could. Did you?
How do you feel about it? Because you're the one that has been following the series. Like,
Sure, I know
as
what's happening and nobody else does.
okay, I kind of have an idea what's happening.
Because all of these beats are huge payoffs for people who watched all the prior shows
Sure,
that were animated. Um,
and it
my
feels
only
that way with
complaint.
the whole snips thing, and yeah,
Mhm. My only complaint on Ahsoka is it is delicious, but I feel like the overall pacing is a bit too slow for me because with the limited amount of episodes we have left, and if hypothetically we're going to get to a new galaxy for the first time ever in Star Wars in live
Mhm.
action, um, I just don't know how you get to wrap up in without it feeling rushed.
Right.
You know.
Well, and again, we get back into the long-standing Nate complaint about the way seasons work now. 8
Mm-hmm.
episodes is not it. 10,
Nope.
10 is a bare minimum.
I
12,
agree.
12 is about right, as much as 14. Anything over 14 at this point is probably too long.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah. I
8
I, I
8 is
agree.
not it.
Mm-mm.
And as someone that
Mm-mm,
doesn't
mm-mm,
as
mm-mm.
someone that hasn't followed the animateds, I'm enjoying it as eye candy. I kind of understand the nuances behind Ahsoka
Nope.
and
Not to
Anakin.
be elitist, but
Yeah.
no.
No, kind of understand the nuance but behind Anakin and Ahsoka.
Sure.
Chopper's great. Like, I'm
Okay.
sure that's everyone's like,
Yeah, no, Chopper. Chopper is fantastic.
right?
Chopper's like Chopper's like the low riding hood version
Of
of
R2D2.
R2D2.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Little bastard. Um, yeah, there's so much stuff, and there's so much I
Like,
feel as someone who
I
does.
know I'm missing an entire story arc on Jason,
Yep,
right?
just as much as where Ahsoka was.
Hmm.
This
Oh,
whole last
the
episode.
Nether, yeah, whatever that place
Nope,
is. Yeah,
it has a name.
I'm sure it does.
Yep. More important to all of Star Wars than you could possibly know. Well, unless you watch the stuff.
Right.
Um, like it's interesting from the perspective of I feel like
A
they are
scholar.
giving
Yeah.
people who don't know anything.
Right. There's the scholars
They've
and the
done
students.
they've done a decent job of just politely, oh yeah, Jason's father was a Jedi,
Right.
or you know, obviously Anakin calls Ahsoka Snips
Hmm.
and has for a long time. You know, um, yeah, and we're gonna get to see a live action Thrawn, who's perhaps the most famous and most popular bad guy in Star Wars besides Palpatine and Vader.
Hmm.
By far, so popular because he was in the old canon, and so popular because they brought him back into the new canon. That's the kind of level we're dealing with here. Um, yeah, really cool stuff, and a lot of stuff that you're just like, huh, like the
Right.
one Inquisitor that got hit by the lightsaber and turned to fucking dust. You're probably like, huh,
Right.
what does that mean?
And again, as someone that isn't as versed, like again, I've watched the film and live action. I haven't watched any of the animated, and I'm entertained by it. I think
Yeah.
what's his name for his last role,
Oh yeah, it's fucking super shame that he's dead.
right?
Um, Still very curious about his
Ray
character and have
Stevenson. Yeah.
yes, playing Balin
Yes.
something. Very curious about his character and if we'll get any more on him or if he'll just be kind of one note, which would be unfortunate.
It would be, but
Um, and because for all we know, he's one note because they were going to do something else with him. We don't like. We'll see how the rest of the series plays out, but it's like, yeah, it sucks because I enjoy seeing him on screen.
hmm.
I like that he was chosen for this role. I like that he seems
He's the Sith
so
that,
different.
yeah, he's the Sith that you kind of got a hint with Count Dooku,
Yeah, which is to say, not a Sith.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. Yeah. No, there's so much. Like even the droid that's with Ahsoka
hmm.
is a really big deal because that droid is the only one who taught any of the Jedi how to build a lightsaber
Right. And at
because he
least it
has
was mentioned.
survived.
Like, I know this
Yes.
because, right.
Hmm. Yeah, just real casually, and it's like, oh yeah, Ahsoka just riding around with the coolest fucking robot in the universe. No
Right.
biggie.
And again, I will give Ahsoka its credit for us plebs that aren't well versed. Like, at least we kind of get, that, uh, what's his name? Um, Wong?
Yes.
Yeah. Was like, he's got, what was it? General Grievous style training, right? For lightsabers, and
Sure.
he can build lightsabers, and like, we get that. We get that information. Even if it is
Yeah.
a passing thought, at least it's there,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting for it to end, and then I'll probably come back to you with a whole shit ton of questions, and you're going to tell me,
Oh
go watch
man.
Clone Wars.
Like there's so fucking much I could just barely mention. And you'd be like, "What? Tell me more."
Mm-hmm.
What?
Like, does he have a car?
Oh, like I'll just drop one
Okay.
right now. Oh, just like, Ahsoka was in the place between worlds, which is how you control time travel through the Force. And it was the thing Emperor Palpatine was looking for so that he could go back in time and rule the universe from before anything started. No
Mm-hmm.
biggie.
No biggie. And Anakin's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No biggie. Nothing at all. Like that. That's all in Star Wars Rebels, but
Right.
like literally, like that's a thing. Yeah,
Well,
that's good stuff.
that explains why it's getting some weird, like, pans from people. Like, it's not right.
Yep.
And people are like, why? It's a good show. Like, it's not right. And because again, as a non scholar,
Who's saying it's not right? Those people are dumb because it's exactly right so far.
okay.
Just saying, as a quote unquote scholar. Um, but speaking of space operas,
Yes.
holy fuck! Season 2 of Foundation. I finished the season finale of it actually just this afternoon. Dude, it made me and Jessica cry.
Okay. So they
Like
redeemed that first season.
Holy fuck. Season 2. Like, did you enjoy season 1 of Foundation?
Meh.
Yeah. Season 1 of Foundation is slow, a lot of world building, interesting, don't know what's going on, still not sure if you like it
Right.
by the time you finish the season. And then season 2 is like, yo dog, we heard you. as they like light up a cigarette and just fucking just like full gas the whole fucking season. Holy fuck. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
does it hold to the text?
I have no idea. I've never read the books.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't tell you. We've been over this.
Okay.
You're the only one in my immediate circle, apart from my folks, who have read the original Asimov books.
Okay. I'll
My
have
understanding
to watch
from
these.
Reddit is it's a bastardization.
And you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine
And
with
it
bastards.
could be.
Yeah.
But having not read the books, damn, that's good television right
If
there.
your foundation is foundation and you don't follow the foundation and you still make a good show, is it bad?
I think that's a eternally debatable
Right.
point.
Are we Game of Thronesing this at this point? Like,
I mean, it felt
well, no, I mean,
like
as far
it
as
felt like the sci-fi
as far
Game
as
of
deviating
Thrones
from the
I
text.
wanted the show to be.
Right.
Yeah, Foundation season 2, tons of new characters, tons of answers from the rather mysterious first season, tons of new mysteries. I think I said in tweets and to some other people, it is literally, as a sci-fi buff, it is everything I want in a space opera.
Well, I have an Apple TV account. I just don't have a way of putting it on my TV.
Oh, that's fine.
So,
But yeah, watch it.
Okay.
It goes so hard. Um, like you watched Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
And remember how Game of Thrones had a tendency of the second to last episode was like the big ass blowout
Mm-hmm.
season finale kind of, and then they had like a
Dragon brews
quieter,
everyone. Yeah.
and then they had like a quieter episode, like immediately after. Then the season was over.
Hey, you're supposed to medal to that too.
That Foundation not only I think is totally solid the entire fucking season, but they do the Game of Thrones thing in the penultimate episode, and you're just like, holy fucking shit, that's what this show can be. And then they go harder in the actual finale, and I'm like, whoa,
Okay.
holy fucking shit.
Okay. Well, Foundation is now on
Like,
my list.
like I enjoyed season one. Season one is not for everybody. That is for fucking sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Season two has everything. It's got fucking the space intrigue,
Okay.
space Game of
So
Thrones,
for
everything.
our audience sake, can you pick up at season 2 or do you have to watch season 1?
No, like it has a really good meaty recap when you start it up, which I was thankful for because I didn't like YouTube
Okay.
anything. It had like a nice little 10-minute recap, which was nice. And I was able to dive right in. But I think if you're an audience member who starts in a season two of a TV show, I mean, I personally would never ever recommend that to anybody in any TV show, even if the first season is shit of something, because I'm a chronology
Sure.
person and stepping out of that is just dumb to me in an era of streaming when you can see because like that's the thing that always stood out to
Okay.
me when I was a kid. It's like you step into a TV show and
You're
you're like,
giving me a long drawn out answer. Yes or no?
should they watch season one
Yes.
to fully enjoy season two?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
of course. But my argument is it's not the fucking 90s where it's like you hear about a cool show and you miss like the first fucking couple episodes and you jump in and you're like, cool, well, all I got is the recap to go off of,
Mm-hmm.
this is all we got because somebody didn't get a tape or whatever. This isn't the fucking 90s anymore. Go watch the fucking material.
Sure.
That's all I'd say. But yeah, no, season two, fucking all the notes, like all the boxes: action, love, romance, mystery, sci-fi, fucking everything. Just I could not be more satisfied with the season two. Like I was so satisfied thinking about it. Like after the finale, I was like, I well, hopefully there'll be more because obviously writer strike, and I know the show is
No,
super
no, no.
expensive.
You shut your face with the cancellations. Shut your face right now.
So I really hope there's a season three. Obviously, we don't know. We can assume because Apple has rarely canceled stuff. But obviously, we're in for a long wait because obviously the production on this show takes a while. But season two was so satisfying. I might be happy if it does get canceled. Like, I won't be happy, but I'm like, I'm so satisfied by where things like ended up and stuff with the possibility of more. And I'm just like, fuck, man.
Okay.
That season was fucking phenomenal. Like, and it's funny because if you look elsewhere online, like critics, like the general vibe, it's like everybody's like, yo, season two of Foundation is like lit, bruh.
Bruh.
Yeah, I said it. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much the only thing that I've been watching um that deserves talking about. How about that?
Cool.
And I think that's the end of the show. Ta-da! I don't know why I
It's a
said that.
long one.
Fucking ruined it. Sorry.
No, that's good.
All right, this is
Like this
the end of the
is
show.
what
We're
happens
caught up.
when we miss a week, right?
I missed several weeks, actually.
We missed 1 week.
Yeah, but in doing so, that caused us to miss several weeks. Huh?
No. No.
Yes.
And we're not
Maybe?
making up for it next week because I'm out of town
No.
for a wedding. So
Correct. Are we just flip flopped on schedule now
I
at this
think we
point?
are. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. I'm Tim.
I'm Nate.
He's Nate.
Get forked.
Ta-da.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
This is Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival, by author Tim K.A. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
Hang on. I wasn't actually sitting at the computer.
Is that pick?
Hi.
Hi.
Do things sound normal?
As normal as they usually do, I guess.
I have to ask because I gotta put the driver in every fucking time.
Hold on. Let me adjust things.
Second, let me decouple beta ray.
Yes, exactly. Just what I needed in my ear holes. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here's cool. Oh, I actually don't hear myself. Well, no, I do hear myself a little bit. Seems a little less than normal. Usually super annoying.
Oh, well, you sound fine on my end, so you're not lower than usual, and I've got you about the same point as I usually do, so.
Yeah, I've got my fucking Intel Logic G Hub set to the settings that I think are good.
No, I fired up, logged in, and I see a little pop-up in the corner that says, there's a Windows update. We can either restart now or restart soon. And I'm like, let's restart now. Because I don't need that thing popping up on me every 5 minutes while we're casting. Restart now? No. How about now? No.
I forgot.
Discord was going to fuck me just now.
Fuck you?
Yeah. Please log in again. Like, why did you log out?
Mm.
Did you watch all the things today? Because I did not.
Watch
Or
all
yesterday's.
the things today.
The PlayStation and the PlayStation and the Sony thing.
Yes. No, I watched them.
Okay. I sadly did not.
I'd have to
Nintendo Direct. That's the words I was
I'd
thinking
have to
of.
pull up a list of the things that they went over.
Cool.
I don't remember much.
Pull them up and share them with me in chat. That way we're on. Said they were both meh, so I don't expect you to.
Yeah, like there wasn't. Honestly, the most notable thing was the absolute. Well, I'll talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
I need to give you my impression. Oh, good. PlayStation Blog has their own thing. Further, I am thoroughly confused by PlayStation's own blog for September 13th. Like everything revealed in September 22. Okay, that explains. That explains it. Of course they don't have a blog for this year.
Been in the Discord for 5 years.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Yep. 5 years as well for you.
Should be, since I've fucking made it. If it said less, that'd be weird. Okay, so that. Yeah, no, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Find one of
It did a weird thing.
What was the problem? Are you on your backup or are you on your main?
Oh, no, I'm on my main.
What was the problem?
I don't know. I literally unplugged both the powers from the Vigi card, booted it up, shut it down, plugged the power back in, booted it up, and it's been fine. Had a driver update after that.
Okay. I'm rolling.
I've been rolling.
You're rolling.
Yep. For the last 9. Apple one too.
Yeah. You don't have to be in the dark about all the things I'll talk about. And I actually have some extra things to talk about.
Yeah, the Apple thing I actually kept tabs on. And basically,
I thought it was interesting because I watched the Apple thing event.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to their so I watched it live. Well, the last 30 minutes of it because I was at work.
Is this content we should be?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's roll.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Cut in.